And we are live. Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, happy time zones wherever you might be. I'm Emma and welcome back to the House of Hubris here on twitch.tv/Saracent. Sorry for the late start, as you may have seen on Twitter. It's an eventful day. Yeah. What can you say, eh? If you don't know what this is about, that's probably for the best. That just means you've stayed away from certain corners of the internet, and for that, I envy you. Anyway, we're here to play a game. Yes, welcome back to The Life and Suffering of Sir Brante in times of the fall of the Blessed Archenian Empire. A very long title. For a game with a lot of words in it. If you were here last time, we had our first, early teenage years. Never met a girl. Very pointedly never met a girl. Got very good at fighting. And now we are a young man going to college. We are looking at training to be a judge, because at this point you have the choices of going with the main paths are judge, inquisitor, or conspirator. And inquisitor sounded interesting, but we didn't put enough points into our spirituality, basically. Oh yes, and we went to a dueling club that was then crashed by an Archenian noble who no one was willing to fight, except one guy who then got killed. And really, I don't know what else he was expecting. Should we go on with it? Year 1135. Yeah, see, we're still only 17. So much has happened. So much has happened. The 3 lots. There are only a few days left until the Imperial College entrance exam. History, law, theology. You spend all day reading and rereading the books you brought with you, staying at the Library of Eterna for hours, sometimes until it closes. As the day of the exam approaches, your hands start shaking more and more. Finally, the day comes. A clear sky hangs over Eterna today. The breeze is warm. You dress in your best outfit, a grey jacket and velvet culotte trousers. Classy. You comb your hair carefully and polish your boots until they shine. All the exam preparation and dressing for it and everything with these domes is... I went to Oxford and it has left a deep imprint of on my psyche. This is all feeling very familiar. You leave the lodging house and head for the Imperial College. Your legs grow heavier with each step. Your anxiety at the fact your fate will be decided today is virtually tearing you apart. The college is a majestic building that looks not unlike a castle. I mean, it looks more like a cathedral, but go off. In the square in front of it, you can already see several dozen people. Young men, sons of nobles of the mantle like you, waiting for the college's doors to open. Time slows to a crawl. At last the doors open. A stately man dressed in a professor's mantle appears at the entrance. He's the dean of the college. The students-to-be fall silent as the dean gets ready to deliver his welcoming speech. But the silence is interrupted by heavy footsteps and clanking armour. A squadron of warriors emerge near the college, led by Archenian officers. Their banner bears an image of golden grains. The noble militia of Monia province? What are they doing here? The nobles of Monia form a circle around the college, each warrior moving quietly and precisely until a chain is formed. One of the Archenians is clad in an old-fashioned suit of armour. He's the leader of the militia. He locks the bar on the massive doors of the college into place, and proceeds to the stairs to address the crowd loudly. Commoners, before you stands Egerius of the Monroe dynasty, Archduke of Monia. By my will, the college is hereby closed, and today's entrance exam is cancelled. Your lowly origins make you unfit for the great honour of rendering service to the Empire, a right that ought to be available only to the hereditary nobles of the sword. The college's reputation has been tarnished. It breeds mock nobles who bear not a trace of noble blood, who belong in the lowly estate but have forgotten your place. Cornelius Tempest and other traitors to the Empire are indulging you in defacing the institution of the nobility for their lowly interests. A noble lot for those of lowly birth. How can this be? I will not stand for this disintegration of the Imperial Order. Now, turn away from the college this instant, and return to the humble trades of your ancestors. Plough your fields, mend your boots, and work and suffer by your lot. If any of you dares to set foot on these stairs, you will be killed at once. The students-to-be meet this speech with a stunned silence. This guy just sucks, and Arknian sucks. The concept. The crowd in the square is growing, however. The news of the Monian noble militia and the college's closing spreads through the streets like wildfire. More humans join the crowd. College students, commoners, officials who worked hard to be ennobled. Unrest grows around you. You hear people calling to rush Archduke Morogue's forces to take control of the college and defend your right to become noble. The Emperor himself gave us this right. We have to fight for it. This is a decisive moment for all of you. The old gentry has challenged you. Will you accept this challenge? In the face of this shameful, illegal act by the Archduke's forces, you may prove that all of you deserve the noble lot. You need to break through the cordon, get inside the college, and take control of it. Nobles will never dare hurt you if your presence is strong enough, press X to doubt. If you're ready to risk it all and fight for your right to the nobility, you'll have to lead the charge. People keep coming to the square in the meantime, including students and teachers from the Divine Seminary. The lot of the clergy is to guide others to the right path. When the estates clash, the priests are bound to intervene. The seminary teachers instruct their students to form a line between the noble militia and the outraged crowd. The priests begin telling the warrior nobles and the riotous commoners to return to the preordained divine order, lest they provoke the wrath of the gods. The wrath of the gods. As the priests utter these words, the crowd around you disappears. A vision appears before your eyes. Oh, we're having visions again! Come on, did they not get the bit where they appeared the first time and we shouted heresy? The Empire is ablaze. You see burning lands steeped with pain and despair everywhere you look. Rivers overflowing to extinguish the burning world. You can tell that soil scorched by such fire will never bear fruit again. The God's given vision demands to be heard, demands to be prophesied to the world. But only a priest may speak to the twins and for the twins. Will you keep it inside, or will you step onto the path the twins have revealed to you? Somebody shoves you in the back and you snap out of the vision. You turn around to see a small but decisive troop of commoners moving quickly through the crowd. They're led by Sophia. As soon as she sees you, she signals to them to stop. My god, there are a lot of weird sibilants in that sentence. Can I remember what anybody in this game sounded like? So, you're here too. Going to rush the college, are you? Can't you see it already? The laws cannot be trusted. They gave you the right to study here just to throw you a bone. When the going gets tough, your masters will take it away. It's time for you to decide. We are the lawless, and we are not putting up with this system any longer. We'll fight for a new world. Are you coming with us, or are you going to submit to them? There are students and professors locked inside the college. Who knows how long Monroe will maintain this siege? What if they start slaughtering people? Neither group of nobles will care what happens to them. We're gonna go inside, pull them out. Come with us if you're ready to take control of your own destiny. That sounds like the game trying to get us to meet a girl. The tension in the square is palpable and the situation's about to implode. Students, commoners, nobles of the mantle, followers of the new faith, all of them are gathering their forces to move on the wall of soldiers. They expect the nobles to let them through en masse. Surely they won't start a massacre. Yeah, massacre by government forces on the steps of an educational institution has never happened. The Lotless, led by Sophia, prepare to break through the siege to rescue the people in the college. And all the while, the priests preach peace to both sides of the conflict. The college is your only way into the nobility. Only you can fight for your new lot and fulfill your duty to your family. You could organise an offensive strong enough to get into the college and thus seize your lawful right like a true nobleman. Yet, the revelation about the wrath of the gods still pulses in your mind. Once revealed, this vision will take you on a different path. standing with the priests and preaching what you've just seen, warning all of the dire danger on the path of warring estates, bringing the twins' word to the people and guiding them to salvation. Could this be your new lot? Sophia and the Lotless, they expect you to join their struggle. They're waiting for you to cast off the old ways and the eternal yoke of subservience. If you choose this path, you will not change your lot, and your suffering will continue. But your suffering might just change this world. This is the moment. Your future life will be decided, here and now. And we've unlocked all the options. So, we can, because we're so diplomatic and valorous, we can claim the path of the nobleman by breaking through the cordon. We can preach our revelation, because our eloquence is high enough, even if our theology is terrible, and join the path of the priest. Or we can do nothing and follow the Lotless. Now, I do like breaking down the structures. Obviously. But also, you know my opinion on the game trying to get us to meet a girl. Becoming a priest does sound interesting, but also I have Theology 5 and feel like I would be very bad at it. And who knows, if we go and become a noble judge, maybe we can subvert the system from the inside. And also, you know, there was that whole fencing lesson thing, where if we want that to pay off in actually winning a tournament, we have to be a nobleman. Let's just check our options. So yes, we have the 3 paths here. So, things we can do in the Lotless are collapse them, rescue them. We can become a shield of the old or new faith and transform or defend the church as a priest. Or we can claim victory over every opponent. And like I say, we did that fencing lesson with our dad back when we were a kid, and that took a bunch of effort to even get. And I feel like I want that to pay off, so I think we're going to choose the path of the nobleman and go and win a tournament and be good at stabbing. Offensive time! I mean, you say offensive time on Twitch. There's probably lots of streams for that. Heated gamer moments. You get to work. Recalling the books on military tactics you used to study as a boy, you call out to the students and children of nobles around you and assume command. They hear you and they listen. Yeah, and also I don't want to be a priest because, I don't want to be a priest purely based on that vision having come to me, because I never asked for this vision and the twins can piss off. You stand together in close formation and march toward the weakest link in the line of nobles, more people joining you along the way. A veritable phalanx of young men, armed with nothing but determination, against the nobleman's swords. This is the plot of Les Mis. The noble militia readies their steel. The Archnean officer in command of this section halts you and orders you to turn back. You step forward and give him your reply. These people are here to study at the college as the Emperor himself has decreed. You have every right to fulfill the imperial law, and any nobles who dare to intervene will be defying Uther Tempest II himself. Your plan works. The officer hesitates when confronted with your words and your vigour. The noble militia is no longer ready to use their swords. This is your chance. You command your forces to focus their advantage in numbers for a singular push, and the militia line breaks. You reach the college gates. More people start running for the breach. The nobles get their bearings quickly enough to restore the line, but your phalanx is already inside. I have other jokes there, let's move on. You waste no time and begin barricading the gate. Yes, let's all man the barricades. That's never, ever, ever gone badly. The students who are stuck inside the college run towards you. You quickly tell them your plan. Block all the doors and windows with whatever comes to hand before Monroe's forces can get in. If they do get in, only the twins know what they'll do. And yeah, student revolts as well have always ended well. One by one, all the entrances are swiftly barricaded. The riot outside the college has calmed for a moment, it seems. Through an open window, you hear Monroe giving orders to his militia. The Archduke is forming a strong perimeter outside the college, ready for a proper siege. Students and professors of the college go to the balcony to negotiate. You're among them. I mean, you're not a student or a professor at this point, but you're also here. Surrender and leave this building. I am not here to kill or execute you. No loyal subjects will die by my hand. I think that was his voice. I don't know. We're freestyling. The humans boo and jeer at Monroe's proposal. The dean himself appears on the balcony. The imperial family established the college, he claims, and he cannot defy orders given by the Great Arcanian Tempest dynasty. And so the college remains besieged. The noble militia stands in a circle around the building, but there are no preparations for an assault. The outrage in the square continues. You remain in control of the college for the entire day and the following night. But at sunrise, the Emperor's herald arrives in the square. He brings news. The Emperor is delighted to see Archduke Monroe in the capital, yet he demands that the noble militia of Monia vacate the square and allow classes to begin at the college. The besieged college celebrates the news. This is the work of Cornelius Tempest, Great Chancellor, the Emperor's brother. He managed to convince the Emperor to order Monroe to withdraw. Even the Archduke of Monia, the most powerful noble lord in all the Empire, cannot disobey a direct order from the Emperor. Still, the college would never have held out for an entire day without your phalanx's determination and your daring plan. We are pretty great, aren't we? Thank you. You, the people of the communist state, have secured your right to study and earn the noble lot. The college is open again, and the entrance exam will take place in a few days. You aren't nervous at all this time. All the lessons at home, the books, the schooling, your own noble actions, all that work and effort has finally reached its culmination. The procedure for appointing a provincial overseer, the 5 great Arcanian dynasties, the property rights of all estates. You answer all these questions with ease. Thank you for the follow. Hours pass, and the dean of the college reads the names of the new students to the young men gathered at the college steps. Your name is among the first. He praises what you did in defense of the college. People like you are the Empire's future, Sir Brante, he says. Love the ears, thank you. I just thought they'd be cute. And it turns out they sell headphones and ears separately for so much less than headphones with ears. Sunlight fills the college square. It feels so soft and soothing here in Eterna, not as harsh as it gets in Anizot. Which is weird, because there's a big tree over Anizot, but hey. You watch the pillar shine in the sky as you walk down the steps of the college. You are a Brante, the 3rd judge in the family, the man who will soon join the family's noble blood tide. I did that! It was a whole thing! My grandfather's ghost insulted me. You've seized your right to achieve the nobleman's lot. You should write to your father now. He will be so proud of you. Yeah, event has happened. Like your father and grandfather, you enroll in the Imperial College, hoping to become a judge and a nobleman of the mantle. Yeah, we're gonna become a noble and break the system from within, or possibly get subsumed by it. You know, let's go blood sacrifice Sophia. No, I'm gonna go with no. Okay, I'm gonna go with maybe. Game? Game? Game. These buttons don't work. None buttons work. Cool. 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 The game has decided that nobles don't get a story. Cool. Well, this is the bit where we kill the game and see if it comes back. It's going so well. So Steam, stop telling me the game is still running. The game is not running. Steam. We are pro-game guillotining the narrative. Okay. Is the capture working? Yes. Well, I hope that's saved. I mean, if not, I don't know. I'm not rereading it all, so we can just skip through. Have a 3-day playtime on one game that did not gracefully handle exiting. Yeah, I've been there. I think that may have gone back to the start of this section. Okay, no, got to just after we chose to storm the place. Yeah, noble lots, Brante. Right, shall we write to our father and he'll be so proud of us? My CPU is having a small moment, as it does occasionally. Turns out I had more overclock control on this than I thought. And I think it's turned all the way out. It was turned all the way out. Maybe that's the problem? I don't know. I think we've always craved our noble father's approval, second to the other thing we've always craved, which is Stefan's death. Yeah. And... words! Words! Words, okay. Bonds of friendship. Also, just clicking this so that it will stop flashing at us. You return to the lodging house one last time to gather your belongings for the move to your new home. A young man dressed in the uniform of the military academy greets you by the door. It takes you a moment to recognize Thomas. Your friend locks you in an embrace. Brante! Hey, how are you? Heard about the nasty stuff that went down in the college square? Those damn gentry would do anything to keep lowborn folks under their thumb. But the situation resolved itself. As for me, I'm an academy cadet now. He's beaming with pride. You invite him in and chat while you pack. Thomas continues to relay the news as you walk up the stairs. Made it into the top 10. Can you imagine? Did pretty well in sparring and the sciences. It's all thanks to the help you gave me back at school in Anzart. I was studying the art of war now, and then it's a quick march to a noble title. How about you? You tell Thomas about what happened over the past few days, and of the path you've chosen. He remains quiet as you speak. Both of you realise that you may never see each other again. You know, Brante, is what I think. You may have your own path in life, but you're my friend. We've got to make sure our friendship lasts forever, no matter what happens to us. Oh wow, we apparently dropped a ton of frames somewhere. Keep an eye on that number. And apologies if the video's gone weird. Yeah, I brought 2 brass rings. If the old tradition's to be believed, both the rings and their wearers will always remain close to each other, no matter where fate takes them. What do you say? This is what friendship bracelets and blood sacrifice are for. No, we're just getting engaged. Come on. This is our husband. The two of you grew up side by side. Thomas, the audacious, hot-blooded, sharp-tongued boy who used to live next door. You can't imagine your childhood without him. But would it be right to promise him that your friendship will last forever, no matter what happens? 2 rings made of plain brass lie in his open palm. If you wear these rings, you'll be bound by ties of friendship for the rest of your life. Just saying, you know what the last thing I saw with one man offering another a pair of kind of brass/gold coloured rings and saying that they'd keep them tied to each other forever, but as friends, honestly, that was Yuri on Ice. And, yeah. Dodge all the plots of a game forcing us to meet a girl and marry Thomas, that checks. Yes, you've met me. So we can accept. We can just take the ring if we're not a nobleman. Alright, so we can't swear the oath. Interesting. Keep things as they are, and we'll get willpower. Or we could just end the friendship. If we weren't noblemen, we could just say, you know what, Thomas? No. I mean, to be fair, that has been what we've said to most plots in this game. But no, I think we accept this proposal. It took me that entire riff to remember the word proposal. I was trying to get to it earlier. Eternal friendship. Eternal roommates. You take one of the rings from his outstretched palm. The two of you have walked side by side ever since you were children. Even now you're walking in the same direction toward a noble title, you as a judge and Thomas as a warrior. Nothing will ever tarnish your bond. Yes, that's why we've got these rings made of brass, a famously non-tarnishable material. You swear an oath of eternal friendship to Thomas. Thomas solemnly swears the same. You put the brass ring on your pinky. Perfect fit. Thomas follows suit. He starts beaming again. Now we're friends forever, for all eternity. We've got to celebrate this. Come, I know a place I've got to show you. Tastiest meat I've ever tried, Brante. My treat. Emilia and Thomas were known to be close friends, and they lived together until the end of their days, and were even buried together. Platonically. Yeah, absolutely. That's the vibe. The two of you go to a noble salon by the square of Emperor Severin. Surrounded by tobacco smoke and mead bottles, you wag your tongues, recall the days of your adolescence, and make plans for the future. Nobody knows what could be waiting for you, but you promise you'll never lose sight of each other. And they were roommates. Friendship is strong enough to stand the test of time. What is this, civilization? Event has happened! Plans for the future? Sounds like a terrible idea. Yep. Thought it was going to crash again then. Now, every time an event happens, I'm going to be scared. 11:35, fall. A letter from home. As soon as you're accepted into the Imperial College... God, this even looks like Rad Square at Oxford. I mean, that's probably what they were going for. As soon as you're accepted into the Imperial College, you send a letter back home. The family replies quickly. Their letter arrives in under a week. Most of it is covered with your father's handwriting. The reason this is horror is the fear it may crash at any time. Isn't that every game? I'm proud of you, my son, and I believe your grandfather takes pride in you too. You brought our family one step closer to being ennobled by the sword. You make an excellent judge. I have complete faith in your intellect and your will. You shall bring glory to our family. Will I? Stefan's congratulations follow your father's. Congratulations, brother. The simple folk could only dream of what you've already achieved. You can thank father and grandfather for this opportunity. It was you who proved yourself worthy. Once you receive your new lot, you and I will be equals at last. Then some words of praise from Mother and Nathan. You have brought your father much joy and made him proud, and I am witness to this. You now walk this path all thanks to him. Yet, it saddens me that you did not consider the Divine Seminary, where you could have dedicated your life to our gods, as well as the Empire itself. Remember that bit where I was a baby and shouted heresy? Our mum remains weirdly convinced we'll want to go into the priesthood. Support from Stefan, what universe is this? It's because we're sneaking our way into the system. You worked so hard for this. We held a big feast in your honour back home. I hope you achieved all you've ever wanted. I mean, not yet. I only got into college. And at the very end, there's a small note from your sister. Okay, yeah, she wasn't there for that, but still. Congratulations. Good luck. Is it me or is Gloria distancing herself from us? Yay! Father likes us. Stefan really likes us. Gloria likes us less. Ooh. But still quite a lot. And our mum has no strong feelings. It's the ball! It's only a few days since you became a student at the college. Your education has barely begun when an amazing piece of news surprises all the students. Every year, Cornelius Tempest, the great Chancellor and the Emperor's younger brother, grants an honour to all future nobles of the mantle and invites them to a masquerade at his summer palace. Yes, stretch and hydrate, that is a good point. This... The professors and lecturers instruct you to look and act your best in order to preserve the college's honour. I mean, does that sound like us? Honour. They tell you more about the ball, too. All who attend it from the college must prove themselves, with word or deeds, to the members of the great Archnean dynasties that were present there. This means the reputation of your home province will be at stake, too. It's time to get ready. You order a proper suit for the occasion, and a mask to go with it. It looks simple, but by no means plain, and only hides your eyes. God, as somebody who went to a masquerade ball at college in Oxford, this is seriously all feeling terrifyingly familiar. Is this a swingers party? I'm going to go with probably not. Just again, speaking as somebody who went to a masked ball in Oxford that was not a swingers party. Or if it was, I was not invited to that side of it. Yeah, of course I can't be certain. Who knows what the Archneans get up to? The day comes, you spend an entire morning preparing for the ball. But I mean, we just got engaged. Your fellow students give you hints about how to attach the cuffs, keep the collar straight, and make sure your hair remains coiffed for the entire night. Hints? They couldn't just tell you? I can't tell you how to do your cufflinks, but here's a clue. Sorry. I'm fine. I'm fine. My eyes aren't delquessing, I'm fine. Well, yeah, they're realistic. Yeah. Valid. Soon the carriages start flocking to Cornelius Tempest's summer palace. I mean, we didn't get to do this for our masked ball, it was just in college, so I think clearly here we're going to Magdalen. And that joke is quite funny if you went to Oxford. Just take it from me. The tall, ornate outer fence surrounds a sprawling garden in full bloom. Yeah, this is modern. The marble-paved driveway is so wide it can accommodate 2 rows of carriage. Carriages. It is, you might say, a dual carriageway. You and your fellow students walk up the massive stairs to the front door of the palace. You seem tiny and incongruous against the background of this scenic grandeur. I mean, yeah, that's the idea. I'm just going to click this so it stops doing the thing. The Master of Ceremonies instructs all newcomers to seek their province's coats of arms. My brain just shut down about the concept of English there. You see the banner of Magra from far away, depicting the silver tree digging its roots into the murky grey soil. Below it is a banner bearing the coat of arms of the Melanidas dynasty. Turns out students from the college were not the only ones invited to this party. You see Academy cadets lined up beneath the banners too, and Thomas is among them. Yay! A wide grin appears on his face when he sees you go under the banner of Magra. Something bad's gonna happen to Thomas, and we're gonna feel like it's our fault, aren't we? I just knew you'd be here today, pal. What can I say? Congratulations, student. As for me, not so bad off myself, see? Military Academy's father and mother to me now. The Cora's mother, the Cora's father. Thomas is going to become our personal bodyguard and close friend, yes. It's tradition. His merry speech is interrupted by a tall, proud Archnean in a heavy cloak. You recognise him, he's Dorius Otton, Sophia's former master. Make way for your commander, soldiery. The last time you saw Otton, he was searching the back streets of Anizot by your house for a girl servant. But now the young Archnean's uniform betrays his high standing. He's young, yet he's already the province's commander. Who put him in charge of all the military forces of Magra at such an age? Probably his family, that's how it usually works. What's wrong? You know him or something? A brief description of Otton is enough to wipe the smile off his face. You see no other high-ranking officials bearing the colours of Magra at this party. It seems Dorius Otton will be your main representative for your province tonight. You watch the other college students and academy cadets line up under the provincial banners. The blue and silver banner of Archnia, the Emperor's own province, is in the very centre of the hall. Judging by the hilts jutting out from beneath their belts, many of those who surround that banner are nobles of the sword. Thomas is clearly jealous. The group from Arknea stands proudly, ennobled by its iconic and dignified history. The Arknean race and the Empire originated in their very lands. A sizable group of students stand under the banner of Monia, a wealthy agricultural force signified by yellow grains on a field of ore. Excuse me? Heraldry moment here. Yellow on ore. What does ore mean? Hint. Functionally, it means yellow. Like, it could be yellow on gold, like if you are using metallics in your heraldry, but even then it does not go well with the tincture rule and just looks bad? Just looks bad. And very difficult to tell, because you get more than a few feet away and it's just yellow. Just yellow. Why, yes, I am a heraldry nerd, did you know? The wealth of the young men beneath this banner is plain to see. Their attire is on par with the Arkneans in terms of luxury, and perhaps even more vibrant in terms of colour as long as it's yellow. The most numerous group at the party stands under the banner of Illyria, a yellow griffin against a field of azure. See, that's a crest that would work. All the Illyrians are clothed in well-tailored suits with a minimum of decoration. Some of them wear gloves. Most of them come from wealthy industrial families, and it seems many of them would feel more at ease at their family factories than at a noble party like this one. 3 banners represent the northern provinces of Fiona, Hermia, and Constanta. These banners, like the groups associated with them, stand together. The Royal Tempest dynasty oversees all 3 of them. The students and cadets are clearly well off, yet they're dressed in modest, functional garments to honour the austere traditions of the North. And finally, the smallest of the groups is represented by an open book against a field of argent. But what colour is the open book? You can't just half-blazon things like this, honestly. I mean, you could just say proper. Astynia, homeland of the Diamant dynasty. By the order of Patriarch Unius Diamant, the open book of the new faith has been added to the banner only recently. So what, it was just white before? Well, you can never be a noble, you simply would not care to remember who was in power, what their colours were, who their single inheritors were, etc. I totally get that. It is the Slight side note. As a person, and idealistically, as you may have gathered from everything I've said while playing this game and many other games, I just, on principle, despise this kind of system. Because I live in the country that has come out of it. And yet, there's something about all the regimented detail of it that is just catnip to my brain. So, yeah. Hate the aristocracy, but heraldry nerd. I like knowing inheritance lines. I like all this kind of thing. Just 'cause that's my brain. Yeah, and just open book's been added to the banner only recently, so it was just a white flag. Not judging that I remember it just not one of your special interests. Yeah, valid, extremely valid. It's the kind of thing that takes up a lot of space in my brain, much as I might not want it to. Nearly all the young men beneath this banner are clothed in academy uniforms. They wear no adornments, but are clad impeccably, with nary a button undone, the embodiment of rigour and restraint. The Master of Ceremonies signals the beginning of the party. It's time for dancing. The first dance is a minuet, and tradition calls for everyone to dance. Harpsichord music fills the hall. The Academy cadets waste no time finding dance partners, and are soon already making the fluid first steps of the minuet. Take a look around. One of the young ladies representing Magra catches your eye. She's slender, like all Arkneans, and clothed in a yellow dress embroidered with emerald green, her face hidden behind a full mask decorated with bright green feathers. Is this game trying to get me to meet a girl again? What happens next seems unbelievable. The enigmatic lady walks toward you. The way she looks at you, the way she walks. The black eyes from behind the mask watch you closely. Also, nary a button undone doesn't mean some of them are. Just nary is just none. It doesn't mean scarcely. At least not as far as I'm aware. The black eyes from behind the mask watch you closely. She tilts her head. There are no words, but you feel there's a question. Nonverbal communication is a thing we have discovered. Cool. Everyone in the hall is startled by a sudden noise. You look behind you and see Thomas getting up off the floor, his face a grimace of rage. It's almost never used literally. Really? Huh. Our experiences of that usage differ, I suppose. Dorius Otten stands before him, eyeing him with disgust. His arm rests on the hilt of his sword. Who allowed this clumsy commoner inside the great Chancellor's palace? Its noble masters are trying to dance, and it's getting underfoot. Thomas looks like he's about to explode in Otten's face. The smug Arknian's sword is a clear threat. If your friend's rage gets the better of him, he will end up in trouble. The enigmatic Arknian beauty, however, quickly loses all interest in their quarrel. She comes even closer to you, expecting you to invite her to dance. So we could do that, and then we'd get a ton of willpower and meet Octavia Melanidas, who would now remember us. She was the one with the handkerchief when we were a kid. But at the same time, we don't want to meet a girl. We could draw his ire upon ourselves, because we have willpower to spend, make our relationship with Thomas even better, Dorius worse, and gain some eloquence. Or we can resolve the quarrel, because we have a bunch of diplomacy, and we'd get manipulation out of that, of which we have almost none. And we would have a slightly better relationship with this man we hate. Husband time! Manipulation's fun on top of our diplomacy. Yeah, but husbands are fun on top of everything. You stand between Thomas and Otten before they can clash. The Arknian eyes you with scorn. You help your friend to his feet, then stand against Otten and look him straight in the eye. A moment later even, you follow your stare with a mocking question. Something amiss? Is the Arknian master so unsure of his nobility that he must assert it before every commoner he sees? Or perhaps he considers such to be his lot? The dance is interrupted. There are ladies' whispers in the hall and eyes watching you. Some judge you, while others grin at the Arknian. What will High Commander do now? What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? And that joke was funny if you were a kid in the 60s. I've grown up with a lot of my parents' media. This just in. Slowly, Otten looks around, confused for a moment. Then he gets a hold of himself and flashes you a grisly grin. No, human, I will not grace you with the suffering that is your due. You did well to invoke the lots. Now, remember your own. Remember this day, the day when Sir Dorius Otten showed you mercy. Oh hey, clips of me saying about husbands. Never saw that coming. As soon as I said it, you could see the pause, and that was me thinking, this is getting clipped, isn't it? Having said this, the Arknian walks away to the Banner of Magra. Thomas wastes no time dragging you to the opposite end of the hall. By the twins, he looks savage. Seems your words at home. That Arknian pig couldn't even think of a proper rejoinder. You're a real friend. Thanks. Friend. You smile at his praise, then gladly and firmly shake your friend's hand. Out of the corner of your eye, you catch the mysterious masked Arknian lady, all beauty and grace, dancing with Otten. You could have been in his place had you so chosen. Yeah, and I chose not to, because we saw the game trying to make us meet a girl, and we said no. Distaste. That all? I feel like we deserve worse. And we are now silver-tongued. Why did I just do that? Hey, we made it through the year. We are now 18. Hooray. 1136, winter, the trial of the 50. You've lived another year in the capital. Eternia has been shaken by what is now known as the trial of the 50. Yeah, Emily, maybe don't follow that train of thought. Or do, I'm not your boss. 50 people stand trial at once. That seems like a reasonable name for it then. All prominent members of several political circles. They're accused of treason and conspiracy against the crown. Yeah, mass trials for treason. Never been a sign of a deeply broken system. The accused spoke in favour of reducing the power of the nobles and granting more rights to the common estate. There was no mention of rebellion, yet those words alone were enough to indict them. Every session of the trial is open to the public. It's a show of power made to discourage people from forming such circles ever again. I mean, at least we're open about that fact. You have much control over your brain as I do. Don't I know it? Because it's the same brain. You attend one of these sessions. The 50 face their verdict. Forced labour in the mines of Magra and Illyria for regular members. And true death for their leaders, 6 men and 1 woman. Their public execution takes place in the central square of Eterna. You remember the woman. Her name was Annie Siren. Finnish-ass name. She made a speech before her execution. A young woman, not too tall, her face almost plain with long bangs over her eyes. She looks calm, even at this moment. You cannot believe she's about to leave this world forever. Annie Siren takes a look around before she speaks. Her voice is quiet, but you're close enough to hear every single word. True death of revolution leaders, does that mean they kill them 4 times? No, if you missed it last time, we saw that when people are because the law of the people was given by the twins and, like, is honoured both ways as your kind of standard religious legal covenant, then a court legally sentencing somebody to true death means that the next time they're killed, they just won't come back. Which, as I say, it's basic. I feel like we're going towards the plot of Dogma. But it's an interesting theological point. She says she's happy to give her lives fighting for the rights of the people. Her cause will never die, Annie claims. Others like her will continue their work in hiding, for their cause is right and just. Yeah, the theology of this world building is great. She's dragged away to the others. They put a sack over her head and tighten a noose around her neck. A hand yanks on the lever, and the 7 dangle in the air. Their feet tremble at first, then grow still. I just realised I didn't put a content warning out at the start of this show. Apologies all. This game gets heavy. You may have seen by the capital punishment we just had described. There are gasps and cries of discontent in the crowd. So, the old nobility are reasserting their power somewhat, and things are becoming more orderly. Funny how show trials will do that. But, I mean, honestly, if you're going to go for public executions to quell dissent against your weird species-based, semi-magical societal order, you could have gone full Carnival Row with it and had, like, a 7-person guillotine with a massive swingy blade. It's very dumb, but it was a good spectacle. Species-based theocratic fascism is such a concept. Yeah. Your studies at the Imperial College may have begun with a luxurious party, but soon you settle into a routine of lesson after lesson. That's how college works. You matriculate, you get absolutely blasted, and then from then on, work. I still remember some of matriculash when I was in college. I drank somebody's homemade slivovitz and briefly lost the ability to see. That was a thing that happened. You don't need these stories, let's move on. Along with dozens of other future judges, you spend hours listening to lectures in spacious college halls with high ceilings. You don't think that's supposed to happen with Hooch? Yeah, I know, but, you know, I made many bad decisions, and was already quite drunk at that point. You study imperial law and legislation, analysing every technicality and interpretation. The subjects only get tougher, and the instructors grow ever more demanding as your studies continue. Yeah, law is not the only thing you study. There are other disciplines as well, such as rhetoric and orthography. A true judge must have perfect command of both the spoken and written word. Washing dark blue ink off your fingers becomes an indelible part of your daily routine. And wait, is it technically... I mean, Slivovitz is... Where's that the name from? Is that Bulgarian? Because he was Romanian, which I think makes it Tinsa is basically the same thing. Anyway, this is entirely irrelevant to everything. Of all your classes, you find the fencing lessons particularly exciting. Every lesson covers your body with more cuts and bruises and makes your muscles ache from exertion, but your childhood dream is worth it. Then, finally, there comes a short break in your studies, a handful of days for rest and recreation. You meet Thomas to discuss how you're going to spend this time. You coming with me tonight? No excuses, Brante. We'll be paying a visit to our mentor, Baron Elquois. It's time you learned a thing or two about how we do things in the military. Close friends, TM. Your friend looks very cunning and pleased with himself when he says this. With a sigh, you change out of your college uniform and into your best clothes and follow him. Thomas rushes you to a 2-story house somewhere in a noble neighbourhood in the capital. Its windows are open and you can hear people talking over each other. Eavesdropping, that's how we do things in the military. Oh my god, yeah, this could not be more styled after Oxford. This is the... Is it a bit of Turl Street that goes by Hertford and has the bridge over it? It's yeah. But then how much of that is just because it's become kind of the standard image for universities? The house's sitting room is filled with young people. At least 24 men, almost all of them academy cadets. In the middle of the sitting room is an armchair, and in this armchair is a gentleman wearing the uniform of an Imperial Legion officer and smoking a pipe. His thick hair falls over his large, observant eyes. Baron Elquois welcomes the two of you with a slight nod, and continues his speech while everyone listens respectfully. As I was saying, young men, I firmly believe that the days when all the military glory of the Empire belonged to the Archnean dynasties is long gone. Human nobles have been serving the Emperor at least as well as the Archnean nobles for a long time now. Still, the Archneans keep acting like their origins are more important than honour and service to the crown. Close friends at a private party with sailors. Yep, pretty much. Take the Melanidas dynasty for an example. The Archdukes of Magra. Long ago, their leader Shah Melanidas fomented a rebellion against the rule of the Tempests and the Twins' faith. He sucked all life from his own land, doomed thousands of his own subjects, and yet the Melanidas dynasty still rules over Magra like nothing ever happened. And suddenly, Sir Elquois flashes a cunning grin. I think this calls for a test of your strategic thinking, young men. But first, let me refresh your memory on the rebellion of Shah Melanidas. I feel like a person who hasn't realised their sexuality wrote this and didn't know how very gay it was. It does feel very gay. It may seem surprising, but we have him to thank for our current status. He was the first to ennoble humans, an act of unprecedented insolence. He gave the rebellious Duke immense support in his province. He risked his own reputation and title to make himself stronger thanks to humans, and in that he succeeded. No one had ever dared challenge the rule of the Archneans and Tempests before, but the rebellion of Magra changed everything. Humans became a part of the nobility. We got a taste of the power only the Archneans could wield before. And unless I'm mistaken, most nobles in the Empire these days are human. Why, we outnumber the members of the Archnean dynasties dozens of times over. So, Shah Melanidas had complete rule and control over the lands of Magra. He had the loyalty of his ennobled human subjects, and he had the loyalty of the mages and witches who fled to Anizot, the only place in the Empire where they could hide from the Church. The Archduke of Magra had everything he needed to win, and yet 2 pivotal changes brought him down. First of all, he cast a magic. Two tiny mistakes brought him down. First of all, he cast a magic spell that incinerated the entire province. Tiny tactical oversight may have set fire to the country. Okay, Twitch is telling me I need to take an advert break. We'll return to this particular lesson in a minute. I need to go and pull myself together and get some water and stretch my legs. So, all of you should do the same thing. Have a drink, have a snack, take your meds if you need to. This is your reminder. And I will be back in 3-ish minutes when we will learn about other slight, tiny strategic mistakes that historical figures may have made. Alright. Love you all. See you in a few. And we're back. Welcome back to another episode of Shah Milanidas's classic blunders, on which the list goes: land war in Asia.
That is a war crime.
Thank you. Yeah, land war in Asia. Battle of wits against the Sicilian. Cast a magic spell that incinerates the entire countryside. It's the top 3. So yes. So what were the 2 things? What were the 2 things that went wrong? First of all, he cast a magic spell that incinerated the entire province. It certainly stopped the Imperial legions in their tracks, but the population of Magra would no longer side with Shah Milanidas after that. Also, where's Gunter from? Where's this accent from? Who can say? Second, the clergy struck the rebellious Duke with the power of the twins. His magic was gone and his main advantage was no more. Then he fled. But as you know, it still took the Empire an entire month of siege before the palace in Anizot was taken. After the rebellion of Magra, the Empire changed drastically, and most importantly, humans finally received their lawful right to be ennobled. And I'd like to stress that in particular, ennobled not by birth, but by virtue of their own knowledge and talent. Afternoon, Chris. Or whatever time it is where you are. History, young men, is more than just a memory of the past. It is also a lesson for our future. I believe the part of our history proves my point. I believe that part of our history proves my point. There we go. And now a test. Tell me, if you were among the Imperial strategists during the rebellion, what would you have done? How would you have fought an enemy as powerful as Shah Milandas? With this, Sarafqua thankfully stops speaking, leans back in his armchair and takes a pull from his pipe while the cadets start discussing. Some take no time to say they cannot believe Sarafqua thinks humans were first ennobled by serving the rebellious Duke. Others say the prolonged palace siege might have been a mistake, and storming the palace would have been a better choice. Yeah, that never ends badly. Soon ideas start flying. Some cause only laughter while others lead to debate. They're discussing the past of Anizot. The past of your hometown. You cannot possibly stay silent right now. If you were in command of the Imperial legions back then, what would you have done? Based on what you know about the rebellion of Magra, you see 3 potential strategies. The first involves calling upon the twins' miracles to rob Milandas of magic and render him powerless. And again, I love that in the mechanical theology of this world, that is actually a strategy, because that would have functional effect. The second entails putting your faith in the discipline and valour of the army for a frontal assault. The third means drawing out the siege while making the enemy's life as hard as possible through cunning. Which of these 3 strategies would you have chosen? So, Will of the Twins would give us valour and theology. Decisive Assault would be valour and eloquence. Or Siege to the Palace would be valour and scheming. Well, we get valour whatever happens. Love that for us. I feel like getting our scheming over 10 seems like it would lead to some checks. So, let's... Yeah. Sure. Let's lay siege to the palace. You decide it's time for you to answer, Sarafqua. The proper way to bring down the castle of Anizot would have been through a prolonged siege, you say. The lands of Magra could no longer feed the warriors of Shah Malandas at that stage of the revolution. That's not what that says, rebellion. And when their supplies eventually ran out, they would have opened the gate from the inside. Sarah Quire looks at you, studying you attentively. I agree with what you're saying, young Brante. In a sense, had the Imperial forces done that, they would have lost fewer men, kept the Palace of Anizot intact. Yet you're missing my other point here. Melanidas' army would have continued fighting, even emaciated by the siege, even with their numbers dwindling. True, some did flee. Those who stayed to defend the city and the castle, even after the Imperial forces broke in, remained loyal to their lord until the very end. Long ago, only Arcanians had the right to wield weapons and wage war, but now humans can prove their merit and earn the same right. Humans like ourselves. This accent has gone down everywhere. And the present empire has grown even stronger thanks to its new warriors and functionaries. These days humans can judge and rule and create. The terrors wrought by the rebellious Duke are undeniable, yet his rebellion created new possibilities for all of us. And this young man is the moral of the story. And young men, all of you. Shah Malanidas was defeated, but not by the clergy and their prayers, not even by the noble militias assembled by the other archdukes. He was vanquished by the Imperial legions, a unified army with clear regulations and ranks, and a clear chain of command. An army that is strong in discipline and loyalty to the Emperor. His eyes finally move away from you, and he stops talking in his voice from everywhere, and back to the rest of the young men in the hall. But nobody else dares to argue with the battle-hardened officer. The evening continues. Sir O'Quire shares some of his war stories, each more astounding than the last, and thankfully, I don't have to voice them. For the rest of the night, you are out of the Baron's centre of attention, and so you join Thomas and the other cadets in sipping wine and enjoying his tales. You return to the college long after midnight. You often recall Baron O'Quire's story about the rebellion of Shah Malandas after that. The rebellious Duke lost the war, and yet he brought about drastic changes for humans and the entire Empire. We are still a dangerous enemy, working our way up to battle-hardened, and we are now a competent conspirator. So we'll, do a good job of tricking you, and if that doesn't work, we'll just stab you. 11:36, summer. Letters from home. There are days when you receive letters from home. Father's writing is very reserved. He mostly discusses events and work in Magra and writes very little about the family. It makes me proud that I've managed to teach Stefan how to handle our affairs at home. Your older brother behaves impeccably at the society balls and receptions that we host. He's already made several crucial acquaintances. But Gloria has a different opinion of Stefan. She thinks your older brother is taking more and more after grandfather. Stefan is a lot like grandfather. It's in his manners, his posture, his voice. He even dresses like him. He used to be aloof around me. We barely talked in the past, but now he always blames me and tears me apart. I can't take it anymore. He walks all over me all the time and treats me like a housemaid. Mother writes to you. From her letters, you learn that Nathan just barely managed to graduate from school. It makes me sad to admit that Nathan has none of the talents you have. The other day he told me he won't even try to study in the capital. He says he won't be able to pass the exams. I find solace only in the nights Nathan and I spend together, reading the scriptures, and our walks to the church by the silver tree. He accompanies me every time. You missed the war crime? Oh no, it was setting fire to the entire country. That was the war crime in question, so it was just referring back to that. Yeah, reading the scriptures. Although, actually, that said, that's her son. Let's retract that innuendo. Your sister and younger brother write about Mother too, and they say the same thing about her health. She now spends more time locked away in her chambers to brood. Gloria does her best to accompany Mother when she leaves home, and Nathan's letters mention her steps echoing in the halls in the middle of the night. There's one more thing Nathan mentions in his letters. Stefan and Gloria have been fighting very often these days. Stefan always tries to get under Gloria's skin, and she answers him in kind. Then Stefan calls her a lowly commoner to make her shut up. You always tremble in excitement each time you see a new letter with the seal of your home province, despite the fact that we just established all the letters are bad. Your fate is still bound tightly to your families, no matter the distance between you, but not as tight as... I mean, do we have a ring tying us to our family? I didn't think so. Worse relationship with Stefan, which is fine. And with Gloria. And with Nathan. Well, that's what distance will do to you. The first case. Ooh. Cue the Phoenix Wright music. You'll become a judge one day, so you're sent to the prefecture of Eterna to be mentored by a more experienced colleague. Your mentor is a judge of considerable age, a noble of the mantle with a proud bearing about him. He never misses a chance to remind you that being mentored by such an experienced man of office is a great honour. Your mentor entrusts you with his minor cases and, to his great joy, his night shift. That's how internships go. Another night begins. The office is growing darker. You're still there, zealously filling out the paperwork for the day. A petty theft, a verbal assault against a noble of the sword by a commoner, a fine for the parents of children who covered an imperial institution with obscene drawings. Petty cases, all of them, but they are real cases a judge has to face. And so you sit there, carefully comparing complaints, statements, and witness testimony. Then the door of your office swings open. A gendarme drags in a provocatively dressed girl. Her golden hair is undone, and her makeup is a fiery red. Girls like her sell their bodies in houses of ill repute. Game? Wow? You know, this is clearly what we should be doing as, you know, a judge and impartial upholder of the law, is looking at somebody and thinking, well, she seems like a prostitute. And then judging based on that. Come on, guys. I mean, yes, she is hot, you are correct. The next to enter the office is a stout priest, probably less hot. His face adorned by a nose of a remarkable shape and a huge wart on his cheek. Yeah, that would be less hot. You do your best to avoid staring at it. Also, I want to know what this remarkable shape is. Is it a pentagon? The gendarme gives his report. The girl was arrested with a certain gentleman in the park by the Temple of the Twins. They were committing acts of carnality and affront to the faith. The huffing and puffing priest interrupts him and starts yelling. He saw her doing magic, he did. The gentleman was enthralled by the girl and he was glowing like a lamppost. I mean, I also often do that when I see hot women. You gesture for the priest to stay quiet and ask if the gendarme can prove this. The gendarme only shrugs. He didn't see anyone glowing. He arrested the girl for her sacrilegious conduct alone. The man in her company was a noble, so the gendarme couldn't bring himself to arrest him. He does, however, remember his name. The priest is huffing and puffing even louder now. It was magic, he screams. You must refer this case to the Inquisition. This witch was loose on the streets of the Empire's illustrious capital, seducing good men with her vile charms. The girl stays quiet all the while. Her eyes are emerald green, twinkling with gold as she looks at you. I mean, that's not helping the case, because everybody else we've had described with, like, gold in their eyes is a mage. The twins are anti-sex work? Well, we don't know that the twins are. We know that the current church is, but as has been established by the Old Faith, New Faith schism, the current church is not necessarily following exactly what the twins thought. It's funny how thousands of years will do that. When she does speak, her voice is soft, like smooth velvet. My name is Alis, Your Honor. All I did was obey the noble gentleman's wish. He wanted my affection right by the temple, and I dared not oppose him. I did not defy my lot, did I? The wench looks up, again, judgy language, looks up and meets your gaze as she says these words. And also, I think we get an achievement for helping her not die, which I was planning to do anyway. Okay, cool. CPU having a moment. Why is the CPU having a moment? Alis's rescue. All it says for conditions is death prevent. Her eyes reflect the candlelight in the dusk, sending sparks of gold dancing across the walls. OBS has been, to your CPU lately. Yeah, I think it is probably Streamlabs that's doing it, but also it's probably the fact that I'm running all of this on one laptop and pushing it to its limits. Because, I mean, I think sometimes it happens when I'm not streaming as well. The gendarme stands awkwardly by the door, sighing. The priest goes off on another rant. You tell him to be quiet. The day is not over yet. You must decide how to resolve this unusual case on your own. The law says a judge must investigate all circumstances related to a case. You know the name of the nobleman who was seen with this girl in the throes of passion. The gendarme was afraid to question him, but you're a future nobleman yourself, a young judge. Surely you can find a way to resolve this matter with discretion and get the information you need from the nobleman. But perhaps this suspicious lady of the evening, Alis, is at the heart of the matter. You have no doubt she'll reveal her true colours if you question her. If the priest was right about her using magic, the girl's fate's sealed. Your Honour. You look up from your desk and into the eyes of the beautiful Alis, and you suddenly feel as though a divine light is shining on you. This emotion flows like a river, it lifts you up. This is more than beauty, more than passion, this is much, much more. Will you resist this call, or will you heed it? So, the claims of her not being a witch seem less likely. So we can find the nobleman, get some diplomacy, and Alis will not die. We can interrogate Alis by spending a bunch of willpower, gain manipulation and theology, and she dies. Or we can just release her and get willpower back. I mean, we've got 10 willpower, and diplomacy is important for the judge path, and that will get us up to 10. Let us find this noble man. Relations, true death, that is not a relationship. You're not wrong. You tell the gendarme to take the girl to a holding cell. Her eyes are filled with chagrin and pity as the man takes her away. Ah, see, you tried to hypnotize me with your womanly charms, but failed to realize just how gay our main character is. He's very gay. And married. You compose a polite and thorough letter to Sir Diego Alcatois, the nobleman seen with the girl in question. You delicately hint that his reputation will be safe and promise full confidentiality. When you come to the office the next morning, you see a nervous young nobleman waiting at the door. You must be Judge Brante, he says. Marriage doesn't have to be an obstacle. Yeah, no, that's true. It's just sexuality that's the problem here. You meet Sir Alcatois with a dignified greeting and start questioning him on the case of Alis the harlot. Again, with the weirdly... How many synonyms for prostitute are we going to find? Is it true that the two of them ended up in the Temple Park because this was Sir Alcatois' wish? He says he barely remembers last night. He was quite inebriated and determined to have a good time. He spotted Alis by accident. She was standing under a lamppost by the temple. As for the Temple Park, he does not quite remember why they ended up there. You take his statement in accordance with established procedure. Next question, would Sir Alcatois say his mind was clouded by the young woman? The nobleman turns red. He asks quietly, Haven't you seen the lass yourself, Sir Brante? How could anyone ignore her? Still, you ask, was there anything suspicious about her? He speaks slowly. Yes. It was as though she could see his every desire, and he was happy beyond measure in her embrace. Felt like the gods themselves were smiling at him, Sir Alcatois. And yet, perhaps it was merely the wine and her beauty and nothing else. I mean, it mostly sounds like she's a sex worker who's very good at her job. Also, she might be a witch, but is this a drawback? I would say no. You thank the young nobleman for his honesty and promise to keep his statement a carefully guarded secret. You sentence the harlot, no, to 2 days in a pillory for defiling a place of worship with her depravity. Bit harsh. You find no reason to refer Alis to the Inquisition, however. Okay, there's that. Yeah, she could be both, exactly, and you know what we call that? A win-win. You write case closed on Aelis's file and put it in the archives. Let's not think about that any longer. Really good sex worker? Because of the witchcraft. Yeah, exactly. Aelis's rescue! You saved the enigmatic singer known as the Golden Voice from an untimely death. Event has happened. Now, will the book work again? Yes. This patriarchal society is so uncreative. You're not wrong. We're 19. 1137. Summer. The Overseer of Magra. 2 major events take place while you're busy living your life. I mean, that's how it tends to work. We call that time. Firstly, Cornelius Tempest is no longer the Great Chancellor of the Empire. He's been ousted and sent back to his province. His replacement is the Archduke of Monia, Egerius Monrogue, the same Monrogue who sought to shut down the college. The most powerful lord in the realm finally convinced the Emperor that his brother Cornelius was giving too much freedom to the lowborn. We're the protagonists, so major things can only happen with our involvement. Well, I mean, it's already saying these things happen without our involvement, so doubt. Now the policies of the Empire will be reversed. Many fear that the new Great Chancellor will destroy the Imperial Code of Laws and other achievements of Cornelius. There are cautious rumours among the people. They say the new Great Chancellor is going to revoke the right of the common lot to be ennobled by the mantle. I mean, imagine a regressive nationalist government coming in and deciding to reverse advancements in equalities law. Truly, this is unbelievable fantasy. Secondly, Magra, your homeland, now has a new overseer, Gaius Tempest, the other brother of Emperor Uther II. Usually, the overseer of a province is its archduke. After all, it makes sense for the province's most powerful noble to impart the emperor's will to the locals. Yet now, this age-old tradition has been broken, and to no one's surprise, that Archduke Tarquinius Melanidas, what a name, is absolutely furious. Gaius Tempest used to be the main supporter of his brother, former Great Chancellor Cornelius Tempest. The nobles at the Emperor's court say this is a stratagem by the Archaean gentry, who want Gaius removed from court affairs along with Cornelius. Either way, Gaius Tempest and Tarquinius Melanidas, seriously, will be at each other's throats over the province. This does not bode well for their future. Tarquinius Melanidas is going to be my drag name. Yes, do it. Perfect. I mean, historically, kings named Tarquinius haven't ended well. But maybe you can break that trend. Only one thing is clear. Magra, your home province, is about to face great changes. The common power is growing, order is growing. These are both good things, surely. Nothing in drag culture ends well. Ouch. A great feast for all! The capital is preparing for a great celebration, the coming of age of Gerion Tempest, heir to the throne. The streets are being cleaned, the lowborn merchants are gone from the squares, and flags and flower garlands have appeared on the buildings. By the Emperor's decree, everyone will celebrate for the next 3 days. Mandated fun. Just clicking that to get rid of the flashy. Eterna is a buzz. A festive procession starts on the streets. Students from the college and cadets from the military academy will be there to show their gratitude to the Emperor's family for entrusting them with the power they wield. Ribbons and flags flutter in the wind, the streets are scrubbed clean, and the scent of flowers fills the air. You march side by side with Thomas, carrying the banner of your province. Your friend's brown hair is unusually well combed today. He waves to every girl you see on the streets as you pass by. They giggle shyly, and some of them wave back. Just see that, pal? Look at this. Look at that beauty. She just smiled at me. Now this is what I call living. I just love parades. Okay. Our husband has a specific set of interests. The Tempest royal family observes the slowly approaching parade from the balcony of the Imperial Palace. They're joined by the Empire's highest dignitaries and provincial overseers. You see Emperor Uther II with your own eyes, there, high above, yet so close. The columns come to a halt at the balcony, and salute the Emperor with the mottos of the college and the academy. You join the other college students in crying, "Learning is strength, learning is will." Like, simultaneously, I appreciate the love for education, but those slogans are quite fashy. I like how you saying feels fashy came up exactly as I said kind of fashy. The Emperor raises his hand in a gesture of benevolent greeting. His voice echoes across the square. He's Caesar from the Asterix cartoons. I accept your gratitude, my loyal subjects. Take pride as you wield your knowledge and valor in service of the Empire. All who are worthy will be ennobled by the mantle by my grace. Who was it that voiced Caesar in the English dub of the Asterix cartoons? Because the voice cast on those was always really stacked. And I watched a bunch of them growing up. And yet the only person I can remember was it Eric Idle was Asterix? I think it was. Anyway, it occurs to me that I spend too much time thinking about the British voice casts of cartoons that came out when I was a kid. I'll be looking that up on break if I remember. The future nobles around you cheer the Emperor's words, but their jubilation gives way to murmurs of discontent when Archduke Monrogue, the new Great Chancellor of the Empire, steps onto the balcony. Everyone here remembers all too well how the Archduke attempted to shut down the college by force. Still, the Archduke is the de facto leader of the Archnean gentry. He's a force to be reckoned with even for the Emperor, and so he's the Great Chancellor for now. Hail your Emperor, common folk. Be forever obedient and grateful for the good graces you do not deserve by birth. Wow. The Archduke does not even bother to hide his contempt for the gathering below. Booed by the crowd, he rejoins the dignitaries in the back row. You notice one of them, a slender, elegant figure under an emerald banner with a black snake. She's Octavia Melanidas, daughter to the Archduke of Magra. No! Now that's new. You noticed Octavia too, huh? Our Archduke Melanidas sent his daughter in his stead. That's a sign of disrespect for the Emperor if I've ever seen one. Is he so enraged because he's no longer the overseer of Magra? I mean, you can imagine his surprise. That's never happened before. But then, everyone grows silent. A young Slender looks at the art. Oh, is that what we're calling that? Okay, you saying don't read that came just moments before I was about to start reading it, so... Okay. Yes, that's a stretch and hydrate reminder for us all, because some of us in the chat seem to be thirsty. A young, slender Archnean with a shy smile comes forth, and we've put this picture of a gnome here, unrelated. There are whispers in the crowd. That's Prince Gerion, heir to the throne, ward of Cornelius, promise and hope of the common estate. To the left of Gerion is his younger brother, Flavius. He is baffled at the sight of the parade below, too young to process what he's seeing. May the twins be kind to you, my future subjects. I promise to repay you in kind and help you prosper in your loyal service to the Empire. Exalted by these words, the future nobles roar as one. All hail Prince Gerion. Another figure steps into view next to the heir. He's an Archnean, elegantly dressed, and his mantle bears the Tempest colours. He raises his arms, about to make a speech. Hey look, that's Gaius Tempest, the Emperor's brother, and the new overseer of Magra, by the by. Seems the Archnean elders want him as far from the throne as possible, just like his other brother Cornelius. Those two have been promising too many freedoms to commoners like you and me. Long live Prince Geryon! Students of the college, cadets of the academy, time and again you have proven yourself to the Empire by word and deed. Today is a day of great celebration, and in honor of Prince Geryon, you must ask the Emperor to guarantee forever the right of distinguished common folk to be ennobled by the mantle. So ask now! Wow, just getting in there immediately with the political stunt. There are too many Archneans here, making me do too many voices. The cadets and students freeze in hesitation. They exchange glances, unsure whether to follow the words of the Emperor's own brother. On the balcony high above, Prince Geryon also remains still, awaiting a reaction from the crowd. Archduke Monrogue briskly steps into view once more. He takes several seconds to observe the crowd before he speaks. Imperial subjects, what the Emperor's brother wishes to say is that you must always remember that you owe your status to the Tempest dynasty. When the Emperor accepts your gratitude and sends you off with his blessing, you may leave now. But the columns say where they are. That's not what Gaius Tempest said. Let the Emperor hear us. The law. We ask for the law. Commotion and murmurs spread over the crowd as some of the future nobles refuse to follow the Archduke's order. There are shouts heard here and there. The law! We ask for the law! Thomas being real brave. This is why we're engaged. This is why we love him. The academy officers and teachers of the college urge them to fall in line and resume the parade, but tension is rising. The crowd slowly grows enraged and unruly. You have to decide where you stand here. Well, I mean, the last time we supported a student revolt, it actually went great, so, you know. Also, we literally can't follow the order because we aren't diplomatic enough. We can demand our rights because we are valorous and we will become even more valorous. Or we can say, get some willpower and the province of Magra will lose power as we decide not to take a side and the fence looks very comfortable. But no! We are valorous! Valor! If I shout valor enough times, then I win, right? You cry out in support of Gaius Tempest's call for the law. You have the right to be heard, and you have the right to ask. Your voice grows stronger. Soon others join you. The chant grows louder with every second. The law! The law! Inspired by the support of your fellow students and cadets, you move through the square and urge all others to join you. Thomas walks by your side, waving his arms wildly, inciting others to shout along with you. Waving his arms wildly like he's Kermit the Frog! That's how you marshal a crowd. To be fair, like, yeah, he's one of those car lot microwaving inflatable arm floating tube man. And that's why we love him. The law! The law! You, Thomas, and other vocal students and cadets gather in the very centre of the square. Academy officers are trying to shout you into submission and order you back into the procession, but they're barely heard above your chant. Still, some submit and form back into the columns. This is my emotional support inflatable car man. Yep, and we love him. But the impassioned chant continues, and you're at the very heart of the chanting crowd. An Imperial Guard cavalry regiment emerges from the palace. Cool, time to get kettled. They start slowly advancing on the crowd, hands on their swords, pushing people out of the square. You have to stand your ground, so you start giving orders to defend the cobblestones beneath your feet with your fellow future nobles. You assemble into a double chain formation around the centre of the square. It's strong enough to prevent the Imperial Guard from reaching the very centre. The commoners go running left and right away from the horses, but the cavalry stops when it reaches your double chain. They cannot break through unless they're ordered to attack, and so they halt and wait for orders. The horses paw at the cobblestones. It's weird that that's a standard verb you use for horses, despite not having paws. English is weird, y'all. The cavalry swords are drawn, ready to come crashing down upon your heads. It's a standoff between the armour-clad cavalry and the unarmed students and cadets. Emperor Uther II appears on the balcony again, joined by his brother Gaius Tempest and heir to the throne Gerion Tempest. With a gesture, the Emperor calls for attention. The square falls silent at the sight of the sovereign. My subjects, I have heard your request. There is no need to repeat it again and again. The great Imperial Council shall review my brother's proposal. Now follow your lot and obey my will. Continue the parade and sing the praises to the ever-merciful Prince Gerion. Describing it accurately as towing at the cobblestones is somehow upsetting. You're not wrong. Issue withdrawn. Love having overwhelming public support and the government telling you they'll review things. That's never gone badly recently. These words from the Emperor are enough to quell the commotion in the square. The standoff ends and the cavalry withdraws. Well, would you look at that, old friend? We did it. Stood up for our noble right and we won. That's the Emperor's word. That's what our courage can do. I mean, we haven't won yet. Like, getting the government to review things is literally what I do for a job, and doesn't always go great. Voices from the crowd are quick to disprove Thomas, and are voiced here by me. To be fair, so is Thomas, so is everybody. The Emperor never gave his word, he only promised to review the proposal. People begin to argue around you again. This time, however, no one wishes to disobey the orders from on high, and so the students line up into columns once again. The bout of defiance is in the past now, and everyone resumes the festive parade through the city streets. Glory to Emperor Uther! Glory to Prince Gerion! Glory to us having 19 valor! Yeah! The way of the sword? Yeah, that sounds like our deal. Your studies at the college come easily to you. Only now do you realise the importance of all the lessons you had to endure as a child at father's expense. Month after month you study the judge's trade down to the smallest details, growing more confident in your new calling with every lecture. But there's more to your education than the judge's trade and imperial law. You also learn manners and courtly etiquette and poetry and composition and even fencing. On some days you go with Thomas to a deserted patch of land to practice with the sword. Then, finally, the day of your judge's exam comes. You send your test results to father, and he replies with an appointment to a judge's office at the prefecture of Magra. Now you have a new life, and a new profession back home. You will return to your hometown as a judge. It's early morning at the Great Temple of the Twins. Your heart skips a beat as you step inside the temple. It feels like that day from your childhood again. The priest is standing at the altar and the temple is divided into two halves. Yeah, and we cheated then and it was funny. But you're no longer a frightened little child anymore. You're now a grown man who is about to become a noble. The floor on the common side is there to cause pain. You feel the jagged edges even through the soles of your boots. This pain marks your final few seconds as a commoner. The priest stands before you. You kneel again, but now there is warm, smooth marble under your knees. You hear the words spoken above your head. From this day forth, your lot is strength and will. From this day forth, you will rule and fight and pursue the arts. Now rise, noble. Yeah! CSI Miami. You place your lips on the smooth steel of the sword again. And when you rise again, you realise that the trembling you felt ever since your first sacrament is now completely gone. I mean, it was never mentioned in the narrative before, so was it ever truly there? You arise a new man, your every motion now uncannily accurate. Your thoughts surprisingly fresh, your muscles ready to face the fight. Again, the law has done weird magic things to us. This day feels worthy of a poem, and now you can compose one if you wish. You've never had practice in this, so you know it'll be terrible. You touch your back. The mark of the lash from your previous sacrament is gone completely. Erased forever. Again, the legal theology of this is very interesting. Magic is bad, but priests being able to change reality with a word, fine. You hurry from the sacrament back to your room at the college. Your father's gift awaits you there. A sword. Your very own sword, now to celebrate. All college students are invited to the college tournament, and then a party. The sword feels wonderful in your hand, a promise of future victories. The tournament begins. The stands are loud with anticipation. Never in your entire life have you seen so many beautiful, noble ladies in one place. There's only one who attracts everybody's attention, the raven-haired, black-eyed Octavia Melanidas. No! The daughter to the Archduke of Magra has graced the tournament with a visit. She's wearing a dress of emerald green, her austere hairdo immaculate. She's surrounded by her ladies-in-waiting, all beauties in their own right. When a noble enters the tournament, he must announce the name of the lady whose honour he is fighting for. Many shout the names of their loved ones in the stall. In stalls. You know that many would fight for Octavia Melanidas, but the onus of responsibility is too great. You take a few jabs with the sword, warming up for the fight. Soon it's your turn. All eyes are on you now. The young lady Octavia hides her face behind the hand fan, yet her eyes watch you with curiosity. So we cannot fight in her name, because she does not remember me. But it would make her intrigued. But we can spend some willpower to do it anyway and become acquainted with her. Ask her for permission to fight in her honour. We could choose another lady, and that would make her ill-disposed towards us. Or, because we are valorous and we learnt defence from our father, we can dedicate it to him, we can max out our valour, we can win the tournament, and we can make Octavia intrigued. This seems like the best idea. Finally, the fencing lessons were worth it. You approach the stalls and introduce yourself. Then you announce your decision. You will fight in the name of your father, Robert Brante. Can't fight for her, can't fight for someone else without offending her. No, never said she'd be offended by this. It said she would be intrigued, because we're just that good. You'll fight in the name of your father, Robert Brante. You earned this noble title only because he taught you well, and honour demands you dedicate your victories to him. The stalls grow quiet. Unlike the other fighters in the arena, you're not fighting in a lady's name. Gee, I wonder why that could be! We're out here fighting in this tournament, but really what we're fighting against is Compet. And we're going to win. Platonic soldiering. The first fight begins. The rules are the same as for any noble duel. Whoever draws first blood wins. Your first opponent does not put up much of a fight. A few minutes later, he misses a jab to the thigh. Your shirt is soaked with sweat. The hilt of your sword feels slippery in your wet fingers. Still, you prevail in 3 fights in a row, then prepare to face a new opponent. You know him well. He was mentored at the Prefecture of Eterna after you. He's an unusually quick and nimble fighter. Again and again, you find yourself driven to the edge of the arena to avoid his jabs. This is the least fatal dueling tournament I've ever heard of. Yeah, well, to be fair, like, the dueling club was only meant to be to first blood as well. It was just then an Arachnean decided to murder someone. Then, with a slashing feint, you draw your opponent's blood. Another victory. To your surprise, you're about to fight for the champion's title. You will fight Jose Pelletier, the best fencer in the college, with 5 wins in this tournament alone, and he sounds like he should be doing the Tour de France. Your skill pales before the mastery he's attained after months of grueling practice with the sword. He assaults you with a flurry of cuts, thrusts, and jabs. You can barely react in time to deflect them. But then, you recall a bright moment from your childhood. My throat is apparently not doing great today. I mean, it could be something to do with the amount of noise I was making at the show last night, but hey, who's to say? You recall a bright moment from your childhood, your very first fencing lesson with father, the first man to teach you how to dodge a lunge. This memory comes alive in your mind. You stand more confidently now. You take a few steps back to catch your breath and study your opponent. This Pelletier is good at keeping his distance and following an attack with a defense, yet his movements are too learned, too mechanical. So you try a trick. First you pretend there's an opening in his defence. You rush him suddenly, then follow your assault with a feint. The sudden, unpredictable attack catches your opponent off guard. He jumps to the side, but not before the very tip of your sword catches Pelletier on the right shoulder. He's itching to continue the fight, but a patch of red spreads across the sleeve of his shirt. Victory. You salute the stalls and dedicate this victory to your father, Robert Brante. Your fellow students pick you up and carry you to the stalls as everyone chants your name. The winner's reward is the tournament ribbon, and Lady Octavia Melanidas, the tournament's guest of honour, will tie it around your sword herself. The crowd parts as the daughter of the Archduke of Magra walks towards you. All this time, Octavia has been watching you closely from behind her emerald hand fan. She ties the ribbon of honour around your blade. God, she had some lines back in the dawn of time, and I can't remember how she sounded. I mean, it's probably a blue ribbon, that is the colour of the Archneans. You have proven yourself admirably, Sir Brante. A worthy victory. Your father has every right to be proud. The son of a judge from Anizot. Who could have known we would meet one another here in the capital of the Empire? I must say I am amazed. I will remember your name. The eyes of the young Archduchess follow you, even as you leave the arena victorious. You'll remember this day for the rest of your life. The day when you became a noble. Which is more important than the tournament, which is more important than meeting a girl. She's intrigued, taking an interest in us. We are Valor 20, which is as high as it'll go. We're battle-hardened, and the game was like, most checks need 10 to 16. The exceptional checks will be 16 to 19, and only one extraordinary check will require 20. Will it be for Valor? We'll see, I suppose. Or did they mean one for each stat? I don't know. We graduated at 19. That seems quick. But hey, we've earned the Judge's Mantle and the Noble title. Finally, the bit where it calls us Sir Brante is not a lie. Yeah. Event has happened. We prevailed over every opponent in the Imperial College tournament. Oh, we went to Imperial College! Also, wow, I've just remembered that Imperial is an actual college, and I could have been making jokes about that all the time. Welp! Although, to be fair, that wasn't at Oxford, so... "11:37, winter. Diamant stands trial. Just before you leave the capital, you overhear something unusual on the street. Unius Diamant, Patriarch of Astinia and one of the leaders of the New Faith, will stand trial before a church tribunal. The Order of the Inquisition has accused Patriarch Unius of patronizing, not patronizing. Different mean. Just patronizing the witches. Aww, cute little witch. Of patronizing blasphemous witches and disseminating heresy. The Holy Tribunal claims that Unius Diamant was scheming to free all witches and sorcerers from the collars that fetter their accursed powers. And what's worse, the Patriarch was also accused of forming the Lotless, a dangerous secret society based in the Imperial capital. Members of this society have been assaulting inquisitors and priests of the Church, as well as freeing witches from the cleansing fire and helping them escape the Holy Law. Now the Patriarch must face the Holy Tribunal of the Inquisition in Eterna. By all accounts, this is a devastating blow to the New Faith and the end of days for Unius Diamant himself. The Inquisition will make the most of this opportunity to rid the land of this unwelcome Patriarch who dared to shake the foundation of the Old Faith. Who will rid us of this turbulent Patriarch? Depending on the religion, patronizing might be punishable. Yeah. Yeah, but not to... Yeah. But then comes the sudden news of Patriarch Unius's reply to the Holy Tribunal. It's no less stunning than the accusation. These words are nothing but lies. I will say this to anyone who dares to bring this accusation against me in person. I want these hypocrites to bear the full weight of their responsibility for this slander against me, my flock, the Diamant dynasty, and the Holy Order. I agree to stand trial before the Holy Tribunal. I will face them on my own land and my own terms. Patriarch Unius has already received strong support from Patriarch Luke and many priests across Archnia. Parishes of the new faith throughout the Empire are now speaking out in support of Unius Diamant. The Church of the Twin Gods is about to be rent in twain. The Inquisition has no choice but to revoke the trial in order to avert the coming schism. Their new official stance is that Patriarch Unius has been wrongfully accused, and the Holy Tribunal will now apply more cautious judgment during any further trials against the followers of the new faith. Following the teachings of Patriarch Photis is no longer seen as heresy by the Inquisition. The trial of Unius Diamant has been averted, but the divide within the Church is only deepening. The new faith has directly challenged the old faith. The result is uncertain, depending on who you ask. Some say Unius Diamant all but pled guilty. Others believe the Patriarch and the alleged rebellion against the Church, as well as the Inquisition, is nothing but a ruse. There are also people who think the entire situation sounds like one of the secret Chancellery's dirty deeds. One way or another, the Patriarch of Astynia and co-leader of the new faith remains at his post. But for how long? And how will the old faith and the new faith clash next? Schism! Farewell to the capital. The Reglata and Talrina rivers meet outside the city walls. You've barely left the capital since you came here all those years ago. A breeze is blowing in your face, and the bright noon sun hangs above the shining pillar. Your stay in Eterna has come to an end. You arrived here a boy, full of hopes and aspirations, driven by your family's expectations and a desire to live your life as you saw fit. God, imagine coming to college as a boy and leaving as somebody totally different. I wouldn't know what you mean. And now you have to leave, and this thought fills you with gentle sadness. Eterna did not become your home, and yet here you have finally found your path. Here in the capital you became a nobleman and a judge. Now you are one of the rulers, the warriors, the pleasure seekers, the creators. Those who spill their blood for the empire and family and honour, those who keep and honour the age-old traditions. This is your lot now. You are to work in the prefecture of your home province as a judge. Your path to this goal was a long one, and your friend, Thomas, was by your side all the while. You fondly recall your walks through the streets of Eterna, your secret fencing lessons, your heartfelt discussions. You have no doubt your future back in Anizot will be full of glory. And then you recall the black, enigmatic eyes of Octavia Melanidas, an Archnean from one of the great dynasties, a woman whose beauty and majesty make you tremble. No! You heard she would be returning to the court of her father, the Archduke, in Magra. Will you ever see her again? You will meet father once more. He tends to hide his feelings, but not this time. After all, you've fulfilled all his hopes, succeeded in your studies, and continued your family's noble legacy. Many things must have changed back home by now. You recall your older brother, Stefan. Now that you've been ennobled, you're practically equals at last. This means you should follow old tradition and bring Stefan a gift. And so you head for the market district of Eterna. Soon you're busy trying out swords at a weaponsmith's shop. There's a lot to consider for this gift. Stefan's taller and his shoulders are broader, which means his sword must be heavier and longer. There can be no embellishment. Stefan would scoff at you if you brought him an extravagant weapon. At last you find a suitable sword. Blackened steel, a subtle ornament of leaves on the blade, and a grip shaped like... I think that's meant to be woven vines. Women vines. It resembles the seared soil of Magra beneath the silver tree. You choose the sheath with the same diligence. There, a light wooden frame bound in thin yet sturdy leather will make the blade easy to draw, and the buckle is sturdy enough. You leave the shop satisfied. You leave the capital the morning after. Eterna, the city where you spent 4 years, slowly disappears on the horizon. Will you ever see the capital again? You do not know. The sword, a gift for Stefan, is in your hands. Well, you know what's in your hands? The ability to go and get some water and a drink, and your meds if you still need to, and, you know, say hi to somebody who isn't me. Yeah, because we're coming up on break now, which is perhaps the bit I should have started with lead buried, but hey, who cares? Yes, it's break time. You can tell, because it was an hour ago. Yeah, I'm going to go and do all those self-care things. Would recommend you do the same. I need to run some ads because capitalism. Appreciate it if you let them run, and we will be back in a few as we go back home with our shiny new sword. Both our shiny... Well, our shiny new sword and our even newer but substantially less shiny sword for Stefan. Alright. Love you all. See you in a few. And we're back. Hello. So yeah. We're judged now. While I was gone, apparently, I missed another gift sub from Charities Lady. Thank you so much, seriously. Yeah, so we are now off to do our actual judge work now that we are an actual noble. We have our own sword, we have a sword for Stefan. We've sought a Northwest Passage at the cost of many men, and found in it a road back home again. Does that really fit? I don't know, but it... Sometimes I just say words. After 4 years in the capital, you return to your home city of Anazot. The end of youth. It's over. The years of your youth have come to an end. The time has come to leave the capital behind and return to your family and return to your family and new business in your hometown of Anazot. The years away from home were full of tumult and hardship. Your adult shoulders now bear the burden of your first life-changing decisions. Did you have the freedom to choose this lot for yourself, or was it your destiny all along, ever since your childhood years? All you can do now is follow the path that lies before you. Emilio, you have been able to choose nothing, but that's because I exist. I'm going to click the destiny button just so it stops flashing. So, we became noble and we got married and we saved a possible sex worker / witch, and we won a tournament because we're awesome. We will keep these personal qualities for the rest of our life. We are a promising diplomat, a neophyte in theology, a naive manipulator, battle-hardened and valorous. We are silver-tongued, and we are a conspirator. Chapter 4, which, if this length is accurate, is going to take me... This game is long, but then I suppose that's the reading aspect of it. Turns out...
A full adult now.
I'd forgotten him.
I returned from the capital a changed man. Yet, my hometown was not the same as I had left it. Fate had difficult times in store for all of us.
Every time the chapters are long enough that I forget the existence of super bass TikTok voice Emilio, and then it just comes at us. Peacetime. This looks so peaceful. I'm Emilio Brante, and I'm Batman. The road back home, see? My quote was appropriate. The game backs me up. As the carriage wheels clack a steady rhythm over the cobblestones, you watch the lands of Magra, rendered dry and desolate by ancient magic, sail by the window. You're back in your home province, but you're no longer the boy who left it by this very road 4 years ago. You return a nobleman and a judge. You are continuing the family trade. You've returned to serve as the province's prefecture. Your home, Anazot, is but a few hours away along this dusty road. The carriage is stuffy and hot from the sun, even with the thick blinders shut tight. It's a familiar heat, but you now need to get used to it again. The heat weighs heavy on you, but it also reminds you of your childhood. You'll see your family again soon. To pass the time before you return home, you read your father's most recent letter. Again and again, you carefully reread your father's uneasy words, steeling yourself for your first real job and the service that awaits. Dear Emilio, I anxiously await your return, my son. You're the third judge in our bloodline, the pride of our family. Yet these are hard times for a judge. By the Emperor's decree, Archduke Tarquinius Melanidas' great name is no longer the overseer of Magra. The new overseer is the Emperor's own brother, Gaius Tempest. Our new province has been split by enmity and strife between the Archduke and the Overseer. The nobles have split into two factions, and so too have the commoners. Some side with the Archduke, loyal to their liege and determined to follow the traditions of old. Yet many judges and officials are eager to side with Gaius Tempest as the new Overseer. Compared to his brother Cornelius, he's less radical and more cautious, but he too seeks to transform the Empire and bring the estates to peace. Yet other Archnians are outraged that Archduke Melanidas has been deposed. One among them is Dorius Otten, High Commander of Magra. Although Otten and his men have sworn to serve Gaius Tempest and follow his orders, it's no secret that his loyalty remains with the Archduke. While Gaius and the Archduke are at odds, there's been no open confrontation. Yet, I fear their patience may one day run dry. As for the judges at the prefecture, every day we deal with more and more litigation between nobles and commoners. Yet there are no imperial laws that clearly formalise the rights of all three estates. Wisdom, honour and conscience are every judge's best advisors these days. You made the choice to serve the law, and you will have your work cut out for you. You'll answer directly to Prefect Augustin L. Bourne, a long-standing friend of the family. He needs strong allies now more than ever. With the support of people such as you and I, the Prefect intends to alter the fate of our province. I'm looking forward to seeing you back in Anizot, Emilio. You put the letter back in your pocket. The walls of Anizot have finally emerged on the horizon. A challenging job at the prefecture awaits you, but first, you're going home. We have a new tab. Our occupation. So, we have our career ladder. That really we want to keep in the middle, I suppose, because if it goes too high, we support the system too much, and too low, we destroy our career. And justice. The fight for justice, which we want to get higher so the commoners get power, is basically my takeaway. We don't want to have a downfall of the prefecture. So, most outcomes of the chapter, the most important event that will end the chapter, one of them will happen. So we can have Otten is sentenced, that'd be fun. Otten faces the Court of Honor. For which we need a high career and to betray Augustin L. Bourne. Get the patronage of the powerful, which doesn't sound like us. This sounds good. Get justice up high. And either evidence against him or protector of the people. Knight of the Serpents, supporters of Archduke Melanidas take over the city. By maxing out our career, which would probably be bad. Broken Chains, rebellious citizens take control of Anizot. If we max out justice, or we die. Outcomes for the Brante family, we can be ennobled by the sword. We need to keep our reputation above 8, worth at least 8, worth at least 5, unity at least 3. I mean, I don't know if we want this, but that's what we'd have to do. And not branded by dishonor and not in ruins. We can be favoured by the Overseer, which will get us ennobled by the sword and a place at court, thanks to Gaius Tempest. Not in ruins, we have to be either glorious or a family of means, and also 863 instead of 853. We can eclipse Stefan. That sounds great. Ennobled by the sword and stop the heir being Stefan. Or the family can fall apart if unity goes below 2, which I would rather not happen. Because for one thing, that would presumably stop me dicking over Stefan. God, there are so many things! This is going to be a large chapter. Events that can happen to the Brante family, a family of means, if we just max out our wealth. Mother recovers. Unity at least 8. That would be nice. Gloria Brante. Get her adopted. Either have the family at peace or a secret plot. Branded by dishonor. Our reputation goes to 0. Family in ruins. Wealth goes to 0. A glorious bloodline. Reputation 10. So wait. To get favour by the others here, we need glorious bloodline or family of means, so reputation or wealth at least 10. I say at least, 10 is max. I'm just talking numbers at this point, aren't I? Stuff we can do at our occupation. My god, there's so many things. Become protector of the people by choosing to protect the common folk. Earn the patronage of the powerful by having a powerful Patreon. No, not a Patreon. I'm Judge Emilio Brante. Please, come to my Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month. The Latari ritual. Participate in the enigmatic ritual of a long-dead race. That sounds like exactly the kind of thing I'd do. Get the Court of Honor banned. Diplomacy at least 15, justice at least 6. Get Otten, evidence against Otten, which will reduce the requirement to get him taken down, which is nice. New sections, occupation screen is now available. We looked at that already, game. Okay, so there's a lot to keep track of there. Basically, I want things to not entirely fall apart, and we'll keep trying to make things better. Just in general. Also, we should probably try and get our diplomacy up some. I'm coming. The carriage stops. The familiar gate, your bedroom window, the same one you used to climb out of at night from time to time. The well-tended garden with its imported soil, delightful greenery, and mother's beloved violet irises. The porch you used to jump off of when you were little. You're home. You touch the handle of the front door and halt for a moment. It's been 4 years since you left for Eterna, but it feels like yesterday. The air inside is cool as usual. Father cannot stand a stuffy room and insists on constantly airing out the house. You hear hurried footsteps coming from the direction of Father's study. Before you have time to take off your travelling cloak, you're crushed in Stefan's strong embrace. Your brother has grown taller and more broad-shouldered. When he detaches himself from you, you notice how harsh his features have become. He looks even more like grandfather now. You've grown so much over the last 4 years, Emilio. Just look at you. You left a low-born boy, but you've come back Sir Brante. I'm so glad you've joined us in the noble estate. You respond by giving your brother a wrapped gift. Stefan unwraps it carefully. When he sees the sword, a boyish smile appears on his stern face. It's beautiful. What a wonderful gift, brother. Maybe I should start a collection. What do you think? There's no hurry, Stefan. Now let me have a look at the prefecture's new judge. Father approaches you, his hand extended. You shake it and wrap your arms around him. Father looks older. His back is hunched and he squints. There are deep lines around his mouth and silver threads in his dark hair and mustache. Taking a step back, Father examines you from head to toe. What fine posture. You had excellent teachers. So proud you made it, son. Mother comes out of the living room, leaning on Nathan's arm. You immediately see signs of the illness you read about in the letters from home. Her back is bent, her hair is grey, a thin web of wrinkles covers her face, and her complexion has lost its colour. She can barely stand unassisted. Nathan leads Mother to you. Slowly, very delicately, she embraces you. You press your face into her shoulder, breathing in the nearly forgotten, dearly beloved smell. Mother holds your shoulders and studies your face for a long time. You've been away so long, son. How you've grown. Just a short while ago I was cradling you in my arms. You looked so much like your father when he was your age. Sir Emilio Brante. Nathan approaches you next. Yeah. My dude, has life been hard? That hard, Jesus. Also, just so I know, what's our unity at the minute? That's not how we look at that. What's relations? No. Province? No. Ah, House of Brante, that's the one. Okay, we're Unity 7. We only needed to get up to Unity 8 to cure Lydia, didn't we? Ah, but our reputation is very bad. And if we want to be a noble by the sword, don't we have to get that up to, like, 8? Yes. Great. But yeah, if we can get Unity above 8, or, like, up at all from where it is, then we can make her better. Anyway, now to this randomer who has walked into my house. Nathan approaches you next. Your younger brother is now as tall as you are, and his hair almost reaches his shoulders. He still has the same lost look in his eye he had when he was a boy. And here's your ne'er-do-well little brother. He hasn't changed a bit or grown an inch after all this time. He couldn't get into the seminary, so he just hangs around. Nathan lets out a heavy sigh and awkwardly puts his arms around you. I'm glad to see you back, Emilio. Home just hasn't been the same without you. You hear a snort behind you. Everyone turns. At the top of the stairs stands Gloria, her arms across her chest. She's dressed as a man, okay, in culottes, a frock coat, and a necktie with a massive pin. The entire family waits for her to greet you. Stefan shakes his head disapprovingly. Your sister descends as if forcing herself to do it. A few steps away from you, Gloria stops and bows. Welcome to your home, Sir Brante. Your sister looks thinner and leaner than she used to. She has dark circles under her eyes as though she's been sleeping too little or crying too much. Enough pleasantries, come on in, the table's set. Lydia has prepared a veritable feast for you. For the first time in years, the entire family is together. You can finally spend some time with another member of your family today. So we can find out how Mother is doing. I think our relationship might already be maxed at 5. So increase with Mother. Support Gloria. Raises that and lowers Stefan, and that's funny. Ask Nathan some questions. Establish a relationship with our other brother who certainly exists. Or talk to Stefan. That relationship's already maxed. I really want to talk to Gloria. At the table, you try to ask Gloria about her life, but your sister dodges your questions. I live, I suffer, I help around the house. I know my place. Just like a lowborn girl is supposed to. Then keep silent, Gloria. Your brother doesn't care about the affairs of commoners anymore. Instead, why don't you tell us if you've made any useful acquaintances, Emilio? Our family would benefit from some good connections right now. You have to relate to the 4 years you spent in Eterna. Only later that night, when the family is getting ready for bed, do you manage to have a conversation with your sister by the smouldering fireplace. You assure Gloria that your noble title will not come between you. She's still your sister. Gloria casts a wary glance at you. So your sword and title haven't changed you after all? Giving in to her feelings at last, Gloria buries her face in your shoulder. You caress your sister's shriveled locks. I really hope you'll always be my brother, Emilio. Mother, Nathan and I, we all seem to be unwanted in this house. Sir Robert spends all his time at work, so Stefan's been running the household. It's taken a heavy toll on Mother. I can see her losing her will to live. You know, at her age, she might pass away forever and not be reborn. She had to endure a lot before she met Sir Robert. Her illness is consuming her. All Stefan cares about is getting the family ennobled by the sword. He'd sacrifice anyone for it. I'm worried the first thing he's going to do is drive me out of the house so I won't taint the Brante family name with my origins. I'm just an obstacle to him, a hindrance. You know, Emilio, I'm not sure how much longer I can tolerate this injustice. Times are changing. If I'm lowborn, that doesn't mean I'm going to serve the nobles until my true death. All over the Empire, commoners are fighting for their rights. Gloria suddenly cuts herself short. For a long time you sit in silence, listening to the crackling fireplace. The Brante family is about to face some challenging times. What was it we needed to get her adopted? Either Family at Peace, which is max out our unity. And, yeah. Oh no, it's just unity above 7, so it doesn't need to be maxed. Just everybody needs to be okay and not plotting against each other. Or married off. Or we just make a secret plot with Gloria, which sounds fun too. Because I'm so good at scheming. See, Stefan still likes us, and now Gloria likes us too. Your service as a judge begins today. You get dressed early in the morning, donning a brand new jacket with a cravat and a hat. It's an immaculate look, if you dare say so yourself. You head to the prefecture with Father. The prefecture moved recently. It now occupies a massive new building of white sandstone in the very centre of Anazot. A stone statue looms above it, the sword of the younger twin, the divine law that directs worldly judgment. All legal disputes in the province are to be resolved here. You and Father walk up the marble stairs past the commoners, merchants and lesser nobles, all petitioners and litigants, huddled by the pillars. Love a cool old building? Agreed. Well now, my son, here you shall begin your service to the Empire, in the midst of the great struggle I told you about. If you don't mind a little advice, you'll serve under Sir Alborn, follow my advice and follow my example, and stay close to your superior. He's a human of great worth and practically your relative. You walk past the courtroom and up to the second floor, where judges work in their offices and receive petitioners. The corridors are many and narrow, filled with the smell of old papers and the sounds of muffled mumbling voices and secretaries and gendarmes running to and fro. Father guides you down a corridor that ends with the door to Sir Elborn's office. Emilio, it's time for you to stand before the prefect. Remember the friendship between our families. You knock and enter. The spacious, oak-panelled office is not without decoration, yet its adornments are tasteful and elegant rather than garish. The flag of Magra, bearing the silver tree, hangs on the wall. Behind an imposing desk sits Baron Augustin Elborn, surrounded by papers. His face wears a focused expression you recall from his visits in the past, though it's more wrinkled than you remember. He looks up and his face comes to life. He rises and extends a hand to you. Why, young Emilio Brante, what a pleasure it is to see you again. I see your years at the capital have turned you into a stately young man. I was told you proved yourself quite capable at the college. The city of Anazot needs worthy judges who know their craft now more than ever. Allow me to welcome you into service for the good of the Empire. I'm sure you already know the basics of judicial work. Serving at the prefecture, however, takes more than finding your way through our laws. They are quite labyrinthine and contradictory, there's no denying that. Anywhere you look in our province, you'll see friction between the estates. Old noble blood, new nobles, rich commoners, poor commoners. They all have their legal disputes. And we judges work here to make sure this pot never boils over. We're too eager to follow the traditions of old and bow to noble privilege. The common estate will grow desperate and lose all hope for freedom. But if we openly side with the commoners, the noble's eye will be quick to find us. And so, Judge Brante, I ask you to be wary and wise. Peace hangs by a thread in this province. Carefully consider every decision you make at court before rendering your verdict. But first, you need to get accustomed to your new position. You shall begin at once. The prefecture has already assigned you a number of legal proceedings to review and judge. Your office is ready and waiting for you, Sir Brante. The instructions are over. The work begins. You recognize your new office by the brass plate on the door reading Sir Emilio Brante, Judge. Weird saying I recognized it by the fact that it was written on it. A+ detective work. You find it rather cramped on the inside, yet still reasonably comfortable. I mean, it looks fairly spacious. The sturdy desk has all the stationery you need. Behind the desk is a large chair of carved wood, and in front of it are several smaller chairs for petitioners. Heavy curtains hang over the window, worthy opponents for the morning light trying to shine through. There are papers on the desk already, including instructions, orders, rulings, and all sorts of other prefecture paperwork. You're about to begin when you hear a sudden knock at the door. The source of the disturbance turns out to be a stout, smartly dressed nobleman. He greets you with an elegant bow you would not have expected from such a sizable individual. What? Excuse me? This game just loves to get weirdly judgy. Sir Brante, congratulations on your first day of service. Allow me to introduce myself, Judge Carlo Fockgraben, a humble servant of the law like yourself. It is my hope that we will become fast friends. Boo indeed, yes, thank you. And now, if I may, a word of warning to help your work progress smoothly, as a token of our future friendship. I am aware that Sir Elborn is your immediate superior. As a loyal servant of the Empire, you will of course take his word as your guide. Yet, there is no reason to neglect all the other judges of the prefecture, all of whom are noble men of great worth. Their guidance will most certainly aid you as a judge. Here's to big and graceful. Preach. I'll drink to that. It will be my pleasure, Sir Brante, to facilitate your introduction to the noble judges of the prefecture as soon as possible. I see glory in your future service to the Empire, yet it certainly cannot hurt to receive reassurance and support when you might need it most. I shall not detain you any longer, but if you wish to make some valuable connections, my office is right across from your own. Another elegant bow from Judge Fockgraben. The door closes. You're alone at your desk once again. The scorching sun is rising over the province behind the window. Today is an important day, the day when you're to take your first steps in your new profession. What will you focus on today? You can prepare to deal with cases, get willpower and relationship with Augustine, get acquainted with judges, improve our career, lower our justice score because corruption, or we can ask our father to advise. For advice. Bad for our career, but good for our justice and good for our diplomacy. That sounds great. And we may as well leverage our good relationship with our father. For a while, you busy yourself with paperwork and upcoming cases, until you remember that Father's office is right next to yours. He used to help you master the intricacies of Imperial law at school. Perhaps you could benefit from his experience and guidance now. You shift the case folders aside and walk out of your office. Your father is in his office, standing at the window with a deeply pensive look. The subject of his thought is in his hand, a letter bearing the Archduke's seal. He turns around and pats you on the shoulder, then asks about your meeting with Sir Elborn. A few moments later, you ask him to give you some advice and fill you in on the situation at the prefecture. My son, you best be wary for now. Sir Elborn will be watching you closely. But this is certainly understandable. The prefect's views have made his position rather tenuous. Only a handful of judges at the prefecture have sided with him fully, and I'm one of them. Yet even I would not dare draw the ire of those above us and risk our family's welfare. When a noble and a commoner clash in the courtroom these days, the court almost always sides with the noble, no matter the circumstances. Even if the commoner's wealthy, the courts are not on his side. I mean, that tends to be how it works. The judges rely on the rule of law if, and only if, both parties hail from the common estate. Sir Elborn aims to change this, little by little. He's eager to ensure that Imperial law applies to all three estates in equal measure. There are many who oppose him, from Archduke Milandas and his loyal commander Otten, to our own fellow judges. Right now, Sir Elborn enjoys the backing of Gaius Tempest, but the Imperial Overseer may abandon him at any moment. So here's my word of advice to you. Be careful. Help Sir Elborn bring the nobles under Imperial law, but do not draw the ire of other judges. Remember, more than just your career depends upon your verdicts. Even a single careless judgment may be enough to bring our family into disfavour. It was wise of you to ask for my advice before rendering verdicts on your own. I'm sure you'll be able to tackle any issues you might encounter. After all, we've prepared you for this ever since you were a child. Your discussion continues. Father shares his own experience of carefully siding with the common estate whenever possible, while properly respecting the privileges of the nobility. Even a partial victory in such a legal dispute comes as a great surprise to any commoner. Soon the vermilion rays of the setting sun fill Father's office. Your workday has come to an end, and you've done no work! As you walk through the corridors with Father, you see the other judges watching you closely. There's a knowing look about them. Sir Fochgraben, your new acquaintance, is one of those judges. Sir Brante Senior, Sir Brante Junior, good evening to you. It is a joy to see a son following in his father's footsteps, both in and out of the courtroom, I assume. I still believe you would do well to take me up on my offer. A grown man needn't cling to his father's coattails, although the decision is yours, of course. Fochgraben follows this with a courteous farewell and a nod. Father nods to him, reservedly, keeping his emotions perfectly in check. Your first day at the prefecture has ended. Carriage is waiting outside to take you both back home. So, yeah. It's only if our career drops to 0 that we're fully in ruins, and Justice would probably want around 8 or 9. Or maybe we want to just have the commoners seize power. You know, that might be fun. Our diplomacy is still promising. My CPU is once again having a moment. We began service at the prefecture. Yay, us. We are the law now. A reception at the Brante residence. You come home after a short stroll through the city. As soon as you set foot in the house, you're greeted by Stefan, who invites you to have a talk in Father's office. When you enter the room, Father has a heap of letters in front of him, and is signing them, one after another.
Son, Stefan and I must discuss an important matter with you. While you were in the capital, our father formally petitioned the Overseer to grant us the nobility of the sword. We have 3 generations of noble blood already. We have the right to make our nobility hereditary. Your father took the first steps towards the nobility of the sword as soon as Stefan was born, and now we're on the brink of becoming the El Brantes. If Overseer Gaius Tempest and the nobles of the province deem us worthy, we'll receive a hereditary title. All nobles of the Brante family will remain noble forever, as will their descendants.
Father and I do our utmost to maintain the family's position, but our goal can be reached only if our reputation remains unblemished in the eyes of our society. The nobility is watching our every step. Yeah, our reputation so far, not great. Father lays a hand on your shoulder.
Now this is your cause too. The future of our family depends on it. We need an estimable reputation and wealth. Everyone bearing the name of Brante affects it. Remember that with every action you take, Emilio.
You will have to appear before Anisot High Society. We're going to host a reception for the nobility at our home soon. You must uphold the honour of our family, brother. You'll relate the news from Eterna to our guests and present yourself in a favourable light. With Stefan at the helm, the entire family spends a full week preparing for the majestic reception. The house is flooded with decorations and new tableware. Delicacies are cooking in the kitchen round the clock, and the napkins now bear an embroidered oak branch and chains, the Brante family crest. The one time you decide not to tell me what the field is. Come on, game, you call yourself a heraldry nerd? Gloria is the only one to neglect the common cause. Were it up to me, I wouldn't be seen at this hypocritical gathering. But I don't want to let Sir Robert down. He's the only reason I plan to stay for the event. The evening of the reception has come. Dignified conversations and the clinking of glasses fill the house. Among your guests are many high-born, powerful people. Your father and Stefan dance from guest to guest, making sure no one is overlooked. I know the dancing is metaphorical, but I like to picture them twirling towards freedom.
Young Emilio, how splendid to see you. So, what was your time in the capital like?
I work for you, you've seen me! You exchange pleasantries with a high-placed relative. Meanwhile, Gloria and Mother spend the evening on a settee by the wall without drawing any attention. Neither your father nor your elder brother introduce them to the noble guests. Still, one of the guests, a young nobleman of the sword named Jose El Pelletier. When did... He didn't have the L like 1 year ago. Have I eaten dinner or supper or fourth meal yet? I mean, it's only like 5:30, so no. Why? Yeah, did he got ennobled by the sword already? Come on, guys. Your sister averts her eyes, bemused. Oh, now he gets to be voiced. Lady Gloria, you are the true gem of the evening. You look so marvellously daring. I haven't seen your like even in the capital. I don't know, that beard sounded like that. Rebranding. Just used to me finishing about 5. Yeah, I started an hour late, so I'm running until 6. It's fine. When you walk past Gloria, you hear her hurried whisper. Emilio, please talk to me. Sir Alpeletier keeps following me. I feel uneasy. What does he want from me? I'm just a lowly commoner. Come with me to the other side of the room. Well, I'll probably still stand out among all these refined nobles. Look, it's Brante the painter. Wonder what's brought him so far from the capital. It would be fabulous if he could paint our family portrait. We should all be on canvas together. We're one big happy family, after all. Wine glass in hand, you cast a look across the crowded room. It's time to choose how you'll spend the evening. We can share the news from the capital, which will get us more reputation, and diplomacy, and manipulation, and better relations with Stefan. We can present our mother and sister, which would be a bad idea, because much as I would like to do it to increase our unity, it would also take our reputation to 0, which is probably bad. We can buy a family portrait, which will cost money but get us reputation, and unity, and manipulation, and eloquence. Or we could talk about how we totally won a tournament. 2 reputation, diplomacy and eloquence, and better relationships with Stefan. I mean, we did spend a lot of time and effort to get that tournament win. 2 reputation is a bunch, but at the same time I want the portrait, and that would get our unity up to enough to help bring things together. But it would cost us money. And this does get us diplomacy. Yeah. There'll be opportunities for unity later. I've decided. The moment you approach Stefan, why did we do that? He links elbows with you and leads you to the most prestigious place by the table, where the most eminent of the guests are sitting. May I present to you my younger brother, Emilio Brante. He's just returned from the capital, where he was ennobled by the mantle. Emilio, why don't you entertain our guests with some stories from Eterna? You make a courtly introduction and describe recent noteworthy events in the capital. The celebration of the heir's coming of age, the attempt by Gaius Tempest to enshrine in law the rights of nobles of the mantle, Patriarch Luke's sermon. Then you mention the big tournament at the end of your term in the college. Intense battles, the most skilled fighters, an elite audience. The nobles, intrigued, urge you to reveal the winner. You show them the ribbon that was tied around your sword, by none other than the Duke of the Duke of the Arch... That's not a thing. The Duke of the Archdaughter. The daughter of the Archduke, Octavia Melanidas. The crowd murmurs approvingly. With a wry smile, Jose Alpeletier takes a step forward. He was your adversary in the last duel. You exchanged some pleasantries with your former fellow student. Alpeletier returned from the capital a short time before your arrival, and has an important position at City Hall. The young nobles observe you with envy. The older guests reminisce about the jewels of bygone days and predict a brilliant future for you. Stefan is radiant. I see you haven't wasted your time in the capital, and ensure that you become famous all over Anizot, you and our family. You suck. The Archdaughter is a hell of a title, and I want someone to use it. Yeah, I think... I have RPGs that could absolutely be a thing in. Yay, our reputation is now 3. We're still tarnished, but less so. We're now influential as a diplomat, and still silver-tongued, and I won't do the thing again. A rock and a hard place. The Brante home has been uneasy for several months now. With Father travelling all over the province for his judicial duties, the animosity between Stefan and Gloria has grown into a full-blown feud. Your elder brother tries to use his position as heir to keep his sister in check and make her behave in accordance with her estate. Gloria repudiates his authority. Their fights rock the house on a daily basis. How many people are ready to rock the house? Eventually, after returning from his latest trip, Father gathers Stefan, Gloria, Nathan and you in his office. His sombre look pretends a difficult conversation. Stefan gazes at his father defiantly. Gloria is poised to lash out and run away. Nathan quietly keeps to the side.
Children, for a long time now our family has been striving to become nobles of the sword. Every noble member of the Brante family will gain a hereditary title. This is your grandfather's dying wish.
But most importantly, he died. That was great. Gloria sighs loudly. Then why am I here, Sir Robert? She's right, this is a Brante matter.
Wait until I finish, Stefan. I'm still the head of this household. If you're truly so concerned about honour, show your father some respect. It can't be helped, not all of us are noble, but now we must be united as never before. We must work together to protect the reputation and the wealth of this family. But you, Stefan, perpetually humiliate Gloria.
Father, all I'm trying to do is put her in her place. You know perfectly well the consequences of any attention Gloria might attract. Our every step is being observed. The nobles will make pariahs of our family for all eternity if they remember Gloria's filthy origins and your reckless marriage to Lydia. Father turns red in the face, but with considerable effort he remains composed.
That is so.
Our grandfather did everything in his power to remedy your mistakes. Please, Father, don't repeat them. Gloria speaks up. I'm just trying to live, Sir Robert, but Stefan wants to lock me in a cage so nobody will ever lay eyes on me. That's not it at all. You're lowborn, but you don't live by your lot. You do whatever takes your fancy. You're constantly grumbling about the order of things. Did you know, Father, that she defies all prohibitions by continuing to write poetry? Thank you for the hydrate reminder. I always forget that speaking as Robert for any length of time. Not great on the throat, and he has done a lot of talking this episode. As far as you're concerned, anyone who contradicts you is an insurgent. Damn Stefan Snitchmarch, yeah. Come on, what about Stefan says, not a narc? When will you grasp the idea that you may not argue with a nobleman? I'm the heir of this family and my word is your law. Purple with rage, Father slams his fist on the table. It's rare to see him so furious. Both your elder brother and sister instantly fall silent. Frightened, Nathan shrinks into a corner, and I genuinely for a minute thought that said Nathan shrinks into a corn cob. This game was written by Drill all along.
Hold your tongues, both of you. Let Emilio speak. He's witnessed your quarrels, he should know best which of you is in the right.
So, sides with Stefan, drop some unity, drop our relation with Gloria. Defend Gloria, drop our reputation, drop our relationship with Stefan. Send Gloria to Valona. Just send Gloria on holiday. We get manipulation and eloquence, but it costs us money. And we cannot appeal to Nathan because we are not theological enough and don't have a good enough relationship with our crap brother, which would increase our unity by decreasing our relationship with most people. Interesting. Gloria deserves a holiday, I think. Maybe? I mean, we do need wealth. It gets us eloquence, though. Sure. You take a conciliatory tone. You know that tempers are running too high. Your siblings would benefit from spending some time apart. They need to cool off, then try to settle their differences. From what you hear, the town of Valona in the southern part of the province has an excellent resort with healing springs. What if Gloria took a vacation there for a month to improve her health and have some rest by the sea? Gloria shakes her head hesitantly. Are you trying to get rid of me, Emilio? So I won't be in your way. What am I supposed to do at some twins' forsaken spa? You patiently explain to Gloria that she'll be able to enjoy some reading, find inspiration in contemplating the waves, and ponder on her future. Then, when she comes back, she and Stefan will calmly discuss their issues. Finally, Gloria gives in. A trip to Valona will be costly. I'd like to know who will pay for it. Speaking first and foremost to your father, you argue that peace in the family is worth any expense.
The two of you should indeed spend some time away from each other. Let be as you suggested, Emilio. Gloria, start packing. Stefan, please send a note to Valona and hire a carriage for your sister.
Gloria reluctantly heads off to the coast. This trip forces the family to spend a hefty sum, but without the constant bickering of your brother and sister, the tension at home quickly dissolves. With no need to keep an eye on Gloria, Stefan devotes himself to Anna's social life. Gloria returns, surprisingly serene. After a month in Valona, her temper has mellowed for a time. She's engrossed in her own affairs and does not draw her brother's ire. That was worth a point of wealth, although spending another point would take us to poverty. That probably wouldn't be bad. No, wait, would be bad. The opposite of what I said. And we're still a naive manipulator, but we are better and even more silver-tongued. We've probably got time for one more. The land dispute. It's the morning of a very sultry day, and you're back at the office. You're beginning to get used to the duties of your new profession. Father visits you on the job now and then to see your progress and provide advice. By now he's confident you can handle the work on your own. Today is your first case, assigned by the prefect himself. From the comfort of your chair, you go through the facts and circumstances of the case. The matter seems simple at first. Seeking some desperately needed financial gain, a noble from the less than wealthy Elavia family rented out a sizable portion of his estate to a well-off commoner by the name of Basil Young. All the rent payments are in order, and there's plenty of time left before the lease is set to expire. But the commoner built a large dye works on the estate, and then Elavia suddenly filed a case with the prefecture to evict him. The rental agreement specifically states that the commoner, Young, has the right to construct any building on the land. The noble landowner, however, thinks he has the final say on any construction, since the land belongs to him. Basil Young, on the other hand, has refused to vacate the rented land since the term of the agreement has not expired. Both parties are to appear at the prefecture to hear your decision. The litigant, Sir Elavia, enters first. He's an aging noble who dresses far too colourfully for his years, judge much. He walks into your office with confidence and sits in front of you. I mean, I don't see as there's even much of a case here. The contract explicitly said that, so there you go. The next man to enter is Basil Young, a heavy-set man with a thick beard, clothed in an old jacket and clutching a hat. He stands by your desk and bows to you. Sir Elavia does not hesitate to speak first. Your Honour, I demand you drive the commoner Young from my land. His dye works is a noisy, nasty, ugly building, and I refuse to have it on my property. My family already had to endure their warehouses and their filthy workers right by our own estate, but this is simply beyond the pale. Either the court says the dye works must be demolished, or I, Gustav Elavia, will do it myself. You ask Sir Elavia to compose himself, and tell the commoner to give his statement. Basil Young gives his account, speaking in a deep, gruff bass. Game, why must you specify what voice I have to do?
Your Honour, it cost me all my money to build the dye works. The contract says it clear. I got the right to build anything on the land.
Bad idea. Oh.
During my rental period, Sir Elavia didn't say a word at first, but now he up and demands we demolish it. The family will be ruined. That's not going to happen, I say.
Sir Elavia screams at him in return, outraged by what he calls his cunning trickery. The bearded Basil Young disagrees again and again, his pudgy finger pointing at the clause in the agreement. Emma, don't injure yourself. Yes, I know.
That is a war crime.
Would it be? It's noon already. The sun is so hot, even the air itself seems to melt away. Audio's going to drop out for a second, sorry. This is your first case, ever. No, it's not. We did that bit of night shift work where we stopped a sex worker being executed. It's time to deliver your verdict. So we can protect tenants' rights. Good for the wealth of the province. Bad for order. Bad for our career. Good for justice. Comply with his demands. Bad for wealth. Good for order. The opposite of what I just said. We can choose to terminate the agreement. Propose a law that would grant noble landowners the right to terminate their rental agreements in court at any time. That sounds bad. That sounds bad. Which would cost the province money. Increase order would be good for our career and bad for justice, but would get us some more reputation. Yeah, that sounds like a bad thing. Or we could ask for a bribe, but we don't have enough manipulation. Asking for a bribe increases our justice? Question mark? I mean, tenants' rights. Yes, we need to do some things to help our career at some point, but, you know. And also, the contract says, you deliver the verdict. You deliver your verdict. As the rental agreement clearly states, Basil Young has the right to use the aforementioned lands belonging to the Elavia family until the year 1150 and construct any buildings on the aforementioned lands. Basil Young's use of the land is not in violation of the agreement, and therefore he must not be evicted and the dye works will remain. Any attempt to drive him off or demolish the building will constitute a breach of law. How dare you? This is my own land and I can do whatever I want with it. It is my right. I can rent it out and I can take it back just the same. And your puny little papers mean nothing to me. If you refuse to resolve this peacefully, Your Honor, why, I'll just put the damn dye works to the torch. You have a response to that. If Young's property should come to harm through Elavia's actions, the nobleman will provide recompense for all damages and pay a fine to the Emperor. The law of the Empire is the Emperor's rule. Nobles and commoners alike must obey the law in equal measure. Your words are tactful but unyielding. The nobleman has no chance. His face pale with rage, Sir Elavia spits out a goodbye through clenched teeth and walks away.
Thank you so much for your just verdict, Sir Brante. I never even hoped you would protect my rights after all. Now the dye works is going to hit it big.
Cool, but please stop talking. Magra falls into discontent. The other judges soon learn of your verdict. With your very first case, you've caused quite a stir at the prefecture. Most judges would not even have deigned to hear the commoner's statement. Yet you defied noble privilege and enforced a lawful agreement against a nobleman. An ill omen for the other nobles. Justice has increased. It will hit a tick at 7. We don't want our career to go that much further down. I mean, there are many meters we want to build. That's the game. Chutes and ladders? What? What? Oh no. Consequences? News of your latest actions spreads rapidly across Anazot. You've made many enemies during your years as a judge. Years? I just got here! And now is their chance to strike. Your career is hanging by a thread. You have to fight off accusations, denouncements, and slander just to retain your position. A quiet knock at the door interrupts your musing. The imposing... Audio will go for a moment again. Is this hubris? Yes. The imposing figure of Judge Carlo Fockergraben solemnly floats into your office. We hardly ever see each other these days, Brante. I've decided to pay you a visit with the most cordial of intentions, of course. I've been hearing everywhere that things are not going well for you. So I asked myself the question, how could a man of your talents quarrel with almost all of Anizodai society? I'm sure you are simply misguided, but worry not, I will show you the way. Many judges see you as a threat. They think that your daring rulings are putting the entire prefecture in danger. Let's examine your latest case, for instance. Its outcome enraged all the nobility of the city. But I know you aren't what they say you are. The others need to see how much you care for your colleagues and our institution. Take my advice, Emilio. Don't forget that it is a judge's job to maintain law and order among the estates, not destroy it. Admit your error, and reconsider at least some of your past decisions in favor of the nobility. I've had one case. Do this, and I assure you society will come to see you as a respectable nobleman and a wise judge once again. Do not emulate our prefect. You know that I hold Elborn in the highest esteem, but between you and me, he's on the edge of a precipice and he's dragging you down with him. Promise me you'll think about what I've said, Brante. I'm only concerned about your well-being. I care about the career of a promising judge like you. Fuckgraben takes a bow and leaves as silently as he came. You reread your latest cases, lost in thought. This is what's turned high society against you. Your enemy's schemes are preventing you from continuing your work. You need to find a way out of this situation. So we cannot ask for a powerful benefactor because we don't have one, also we don't have enough diplomacy. We could continue the fight. Career continues to plummet, valor goes up, but our valor is already maxed. We can annul our decisions, lose 3 justice for 2 career and 1 diplomacy. We can ask our father for help, which will hurt our reputation. Oh no. I think that might still have to be the way to do it. Because -3 justice. Yeah. You walk swiftly to your father's office. No matter what happens, he'll always come to your aid. The conversation begins awkwardly. You tell him about your latest rulings, the enemies you've made, and the pressure from Fochgraben and those like him. Will he help you out of your difficulty? Having carefully listened to your account, Father frowns.
You're in dire straits indeed. You know that I'll always be on your side, but now you've gone too far. It's my fault too, Emilio. So we got you out of this mess. Our family has still managed to build a reputation over the past few years. I'll arrange meetings with some important noblemen and plead your case. Like predatory beasts, they'll smell our vulnerability. As soon as you ask for a favour, you become not only a debtor, but also a prospective victim. We have no choice, otherwise you'll lose your position as judge. But promise me, son, that from now on you'll be more cautious and refrain from making more enemies for our family.
I promise no such thing. You assure Father that you will do your utmost, like a liar. Then you awkwardly thank him for his help. He pats you on the shoulder in response and picks up his quill pen. Letters, entreaties, and humiliating visits await him. Well, that was an unintentional event that happened to us. Unintentional consequences in my stream. Game, are you not going to let me get to the menu so I can actually quit? Fine. The Archduke and the Overseer, 2 powerful lords, have been struggling in power in Magra for over 2 years now. The new Overseer of the province, Gaius Tempest, cannot seem to rein in the obstinate spirit of Archduke Tarquinius Melanidas. What a name. Unwilling to accept that he's no longer the Overseer of Magra, the Archduke still stubbornly continues to assert his right to rule the province. Most of the Magran gentry who swore allegiance to him generations ago remain loyal to him even now. Gaius Tempest has publicly demanded that the Archduke recognise the Overseer's rule as legitimate.
I am the voice and the will of Emperor Uther II in the province of Magra. All lands, deeds, and titles notwithstanding, Archduke Melanidas must obey his sovereign's will and heed his decree. I hereby extend to the Archduke an offer of peace. Should the Archduke cease his insubordination, his lands, deeds, and titles shall remain his own.
The Archduke's response to the Overseer was openly defiant. Ooh, we don't even know what he sounds like.
Since the days of yore, the land of Magra has belonged to the Melanidas dynasty. We are part of the Empire, and we are the Emperor's loyal servants. However, our dynasty will not stand for such intrusion upon our lawful rights and privileges. Never before has an Archduke been stripped of his rights to represent the Emperor's rule in his own province. So do not forget, Sir Overseer, that the highest noble families of Magra have sworn fealty to me alone.
Oh. Yes, we literally scorched our name into the land. Neither the Archduke nor the Overseer will relent, but both are too powerful to be readily disposed of. Bad blood between the two Archneans has festered for too long, and the common people have begun to pay the price for their strife. Stripped of the Overseer's tax privileges, the Archduke Melanidas has decided to impose his own levy upon the citizens and villagers of Magra. Commoners are now forced to pay taxes twice, first to the Overseer, and then to the Archduke. This double burden is too much for the common people of Magra to bear. Many have refused the second tax outright as a lawless measure, but the Imperial Legion led by young Dorius Arton is ruthless. Eagerly and without mercy, the Legion soldiers collect the Archduke's due in cities and villages alike. Lost some wealth, but we just boosted it. Lost more order, which is bad, but the commoners are gaining more power. The balance is up to neutral. Well, this has been a time. This game just keeps on going places. And I have no idea if we're going to manage to accomplish our goals, or indeed what our goals might be. But we'll have to find out next time, because, yeah, it is the end of the stream for today, as I say. Ran a little longer than even I planned, because the game just kept on happening. Yeah, so, time for the wrap-up. Thank you all so much for coming. Thanks if you stayed to the end. Later than usual, but, you know, means a lot for you to be here. If you've been watching this, you know how to find me, but just in case, this is twitch.tv/Serasent, that's SERASENT, the House of Hubris. Streaming here every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, usually at 2 PM British time, that is 9 AM Eastern, 6 Pacific. Other time zones are very much available to do the maths. But hey, if you don't want to do the maths, throw us a follow on Twitch and you get notified whenever I'm around. If you miss anything, you can go to the VODs are on the Twitch for 8 weeks after the fact. For everything else, you can go to the YouTube. Link down there, it says VOD Archive or YouTube or something, or it's youtube.com/@House of Hubris, where you can find everything going back to the very start of the channel. That's like 2.5 years of content now. Lots of games on there, so there'll probably be something you enjoy. And hey, while you're there, why not throw us a subscription on YouTube? Doesn't cost you anything and gets you hot, fresh VODs in your inbox every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, assuming I've remembered to keep editing and uploading them, which... ADHD. It's a hell of a drug. If you feel like supporting my attempts to subvert the legal system monetarily, you can, of course, cheer or subscribe on Twitch, but you very much don't need to. Just turn up and hang out and have... What do I even say? Turn up and have fun and be chill and be good to each other, and then everybody's having a good time. Right? How have I forgotten my own sign-off, for God's sake? Turn up and hang out and be chill and be good to each other. There we go. Yeah. Cool. My inability to process things I wrote aside. Wow, I don't know what's up with my CPU gremlins today. They are having a time. Anyway, they'll have less of a time soon, because I'm going to stop streaming. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to plug. Oh, the Twitter, if you want to see more of me, go on my Twitter. Link's down there, says Twitter, or it's Twitter at House of Hubris, where I do memes and stream notifications and shouting about politics, and things might get very interesting in the near future for reasons I can't comment on. Yeah, so hey, why not be there to check out all of that and grab some popcorn. I believe that's everything. So, I'll see you again on Thursday for more of Emilio Brante's wild ride into trying to dismantle fascism. And yeah, love you all. I'll see you then. Bye.